Chapter 3557. All right, that's all for now. Because he wasn't familiar with the people of Meng Village yet, Ling Xiao wouldn't easily expose the fact that he was from the western region. Pretending to be the special envoy of the Purple Palace sect wasn't a bad idea. Not only would he be able to gain everyone's respect, it would also save him a lot of trouble. While both of them were talking, a figure suddenly flew towards them like a gust of wind. Big Brother Ling, young lady. The man was Meng Yi. Let's talk later. Meng Yi, you come with us. After what happened with the Dark Warriors and the City of Raging Fire, Meng Fian trusted Meng Yi a lot. Therefore, she had to let Meng Yi know what she was going to say next. Young lady, the chief isn't here. A monster appeared in the fish pond recently, and the chief brought some strong warriors to hunt it down. Meng Yi said with a bitter smile, "Let's go to my room first." Meng Fian thought for a moment and said, "Along the way, Ling Xiao was the center of attention. It was probably those young men he saved who told him what had happened. Therefore, everyone treated him with a good attitude. They were all very enthusiastic. This simple and honest village just gave people a more relaxed feeling. Meng Fian's room was on a small island. She only needed to cross a wooden bridge to reach the island. The house was made entirely of bamboo. Not only was it waterproof, it was also very comfortable. After entering the house, Meng Fian and Ling Xiao briefly explained what had happened. Of course, Ling Xiao ignored the fact that Wang Yongming had been killed. He only said that Wang Yongming had killed himself because of the backlash from using the blood goo. Only Meng Fian knew the truth. But she had promised Ling Xiao that she wouldn't tell anyone. After all, this was a very serious matter. Although the Purple Palace Academy might not investigate this matter, if the news spread like wildfire, they would have to do something about it. Ling Xiao didn't have the confidence to fight with hundreds of thousands of Purple Palace Academy warriors. After all, the weakest among them was at the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm, and the strongest was at the 9th level of the Divine Vein Realm. They might even be at the Divine Core Realm. He couldn't afford to offend them. After hearing what they said, Meng Yi was dumbfounded. That monster with a human face, but a beast's heart. It was really dangerous this time, if it wasn't for Big Brother Ling. I'm afraid you're really gone. There's no need to be so angry. I've profited from a disaster this time. Not only did I not die, but I've also made a breakthrough in my cultivation. Furthermore, with the awakening of the innate golden combat body, the overall strength of our Meng village will only become stronger. After experiencing the incident with Wang Yongming, Meng Fian had already dispelled the thought of heading to the Purple Mansion Academy. He knew that with her experience, he was afraid that she would still be fooled if she went. It would be better for them to stay in Meng Village and cultivate. Once he reached the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm, he would think of a way to enter the Zifu Academy. That's true. Big Brother Ling, you are indeed a god. Meng Yi's eyes were filled with envy. Ling Xiao believed that nothing would happen if he told the two of them about his situation, but he still didn't say anything. After all, there were 50 to 60,000 people in the Meng village, so it was better to take it easy. Boom! Suddenly, at this moment, a terrifying rumble came from afar. Everyone was startled by his sudden appearance. It's in the direction of the Thousand Waters Lake. Not good. The Stockade Master and the others are in trouble. Meng Yi suddenly stood up and said, "I'm sorry, Big Brother Ling. I originally wanted to treat you well, but now it seems like we can only solve the problem in front of us first." "What problem? Is it the monster in the water?" Ling Xiao asked curiously. "The monster in the water is a small matter. We can deal with it. The problem is the Black Warriors. Ever since Meng Chong was killed, the Black Warriors have been attacking us. That bastard Meng Chong told the Black Warriors a secret of our village." Meng Yi gritted his teeth and said, "Although I shouldn't ask, if it's convenient, can you tell me what the secret is?" Ling Xiao asked. "I won't hide it from Big Brother Ling. There's a plant called Nine-Eyed Lotus growing in the water of our Meng village. This thing is very powerful. No matter what kind of combat body or divine body you cultivate, as long as it is a defensive martial skill, it can be strengthened. If you can refine the nine-eyed lotus into a nine-eyed lotus pill, the effect will be even better. We have only used this thing for ourselves. Therefore, no matter what kind of cultivation our Meng village's martial artists have, their bodies are very strong. Now that the black warriors know about it, they came to snatch it. Meng Yi replied, he has already treated Ling Xiao as one of his own, so he didn't plan to hide it. Take me with you to see it. Ling Xiao thought for a while and said, if possible, he would like to improve his black tortoise divine body. Now, the high-level king level black tortoise divine body was obviously not enough. At the very least, it should be the peak king level black tortoise divine body. Okay, let's go together. Meng Yi, Meng Fian, and Ling Xiao took the boat and headed towards the Thousand Water Lake. The Thousand Water Lake was named because it was divided by countless small islands. Compared to the Meng village, the environment there was worse because there were many terrifying demon beasts living there. However, there would also be some natural treasures in that place. For example, the nine-eyed lotus was one of them. There were waterways between the lakes, and the boat was moving quickly through the waterways. In the distance, they could see some figures. However, it seemed that there was a fierce battle going on. Meng Yi was a little anxious, so he rowed faster. However, at this moment, the boat suddenly shook violently. On the calm surface of the lake, a huge wave suddenly rose. Under the lake, there was a dark shadow lurking. Oh no, we're in luck. We actually encountered that monster. Meng Yi's face instantly changed, and he didn't know what to say. They were about to reach their destination, but they encountered such a monster. Don't panic. Continue to row. I'll deal with the thing in the water. Ling Xiao said lightly. Through the Tai Chi eye, he had basically confirmed the strength of the monster in the lake. It was a snake, a huge snake with 9 heads. Its strength had reached the 3rd level of the 1-star divine vein realm. He felt that its combat strength was stronger than Wang Yongming. However, Ling Xiao didn't care. His cultivation had broken through to the 2nd level of the divine vein realm, so he didn't care about this level of demon beast. Meng Yi rowed the boat crazily. Meng Fian also helped at the side. At this moment, many people on the shore saw the boat in the lake and came over. It seems to be Miss Fian and Meng Yi on the boat. Who is that stranger? They wanted to see Ling Xiao's appearance clearly. Suddenly, a huge 9-headed snake jumped out of the water. Everyone on the shore was shocked. Chief, this is bad. The 9-headed snake has appeared. Miss and the others are in danger. Everyone cried out in alarm. However, as the chief, Meng Tsang couldn't do anything. At this moment, he was fighting with the Black Warrior. It was a one-on-one battle for the rights to the nine-eyed lotus. He couldn't get away. Even if he wanted to admit defeat, it was impossible. His opponent's every move was deadly. Obviously, he didn't want to give him a chance to admit defeat. Chapter 3558. The most troublesome thing was that the Black Warrior was obviously stronger than Meng Tsang. Meng Tsang was covered in wounds. If it wasn't for the nine-eyed lotus that gave him a strong physique and recovery ability, he would probably be dead by now. He was worried about his daughter, but there was nothing he could do. Many people on the shore jumped onto the boat, ready to help. At this moment, they saw a shocking scene. The young man on the boat was only 17 years old. He was holding a sword with a smile on his face. The 9-headed snake was pouncing on the boat. If it hit, the boat would be smashed into pieces. The people on the boat wouldn't be able to survive. However, the young man didn't seem to be afraid at all. He was facing a terrifying 1-star divine vein 3rd level demonic beast. Even their fort master couldn't do anything to this terrifying existence. He casually stabbed out with his sword. Instant freeze! Ling Xiao spat out 4 words. Then, the huge demonic beast was instantly frozen into a block of ice. It was smashed into pieces by his punch. Only the core of the demonic beast was kept in the mountain river world. This core could be used to upgrade the nine-headed snake general's beast soul. Now that Ling Xiao's cultivation had broken through so quickly, the beast soul's grade couldn't keep up with his cultivation. He was lucky to get the nine-headed snake's beast core. This way, he could at least upgrade the nine-headed snake general's beast soul to the 3rd level of the divine vein realm. He wouldn't need to use the unbounded heavenly rat's beast soul to transform into a random cat or dog. He could deal with an ordinary beast soul transformation. This is too fierce. That's a terrifying 1-star divine vein 3rd level demonic beast. He killed it in one move. Could he be the special envoy from the Purple Mansion Academy? No wonder the young miss is with him. This young man is only 17 years old. I heard that the special envoy should be around 20 years old. I don't think so. Then you are just curious. There are so many students in the Purple Mansion Academy. It's not strange that there are young ones. Almost everyone in the Meng village practiced martial arts. Although most of the martial artists were only at the reincarnation divine realm, they had a certain level of insight. They had seen how powerful the nine-headed snake's attack was. Their chief, a cultivator in the 2nd level of the divine vein realm, was sent flying by the nine-headed snake in a single move. Because of this fellow, even the nine-eyed lotus could not be harvested. Now that the Hydra has been eliminated by this young man, the next enemy to deal with is the Black Warrior. Regardless of Ling Xiao's identity, everyone was full of admiration and worship for Ling Xiao. For some reason, the Black Warrior who was fighting with the head of the Meng family, Meng Song, after seeing Hydra killed, he hurriedly turned around and left. It seemed that the nine-headed snake had some kind of connection with the Black Warrior. Naturally, Meng Song didn't give chase because it would be useless even if he did. His strength was no match for the others. When the boat reached the shore, Meng Song rushed over without looking at his daughter. Instead, he cupped his fists at Ling Xiao and said, "Thank you for your help, young hero. Not only did you kill that nine-headed snake, you also scared away that dark warrior and brought peace back to our Meng village." "Chief, please get up. It's just a small matter. It's not worth mentioning. You, on the other hand, seem to be heavily injured." Ling Xiao hurriedly helped Meng Song up and said, "It's fine. I'll be fine after eating this." He directly plucked a nine-eyed lotus and ate it. After a while, his injuries began to heal rapidly. No wonder the Black Warrior targeted this nine-eyed lotus. It's definitely a good thing. Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh. "Young hero, you can go ahead and harvest it if you like. You're the benefactor of our Meng family." Meng Song was very generous. "Let's not talk about this for now. There are some things that I need to discuss with you." Although Ling Xiao liked the nine-eyed lotus, he wasn't in such a hurry. When he left, he would harvest some and use them to concoct the nine-eyed lotus pill. "Let's go over there." The Meng family had built a residence at the place where the nine-eyed lotus grew. Meng Song called Ling Xiao, Meng Fian, and Meng Yi into the residence. The rest of them continued to stand guard outside. Suddenly, 2 heads popped out from the water far away. They were wearing black diving masks with the insignia of the Black Warrior on them. "I didn't expect the nine-headed snake to fail," one of them said. "What a useless beast. The leader spent a lot of effort to subdue it. It was actually killed by that young man in one move. It's useless." The other person also said, "What should we do next?" The first person asked, "I'm afraid we're not that young man's match. We have to report this to the leader immediately. Let the leader make the decision. I believe that with the leader's strength, killing that kid should be a piece of cake. When the time comes, the nine-eyed lotus will be ours." The second person thought for a while and said, after the 2 of them finished speaking, they dived back into the lake and disappeared. Late at night, Ling Xiao stayed in a room near the nine-eyed lotus to cultivate. His cultivation had broken through to the 2nd level of the divine vein realm. He was pondering how to combine the 9 supremacy swords into one. Combining 5 swords into one was a Peak King level martial skill. Combining 6 swords into one might be an emperor-level martial skill. Its power might not be inferior to the 9 revolutions, celestial demon technique. He had asked the ancient sword emperor about the 9 supremacy sword technique. The ancient sword emperor said that he didn't know either. That was because he had found the sword technique in the primordial divine tomb. Before him, many experts had been buried here. He had only cultivated 5 swords into one. After that, he focused on cultivating the 9 revolutions, God Fiend technique. Without the experience of others, Ling Xiao had to study it himself. Anyway, he had nothing to do. In the process of studying martial skills, he could comprehend more powerful martial skills. At this moment, a young man from the Meng village walked towards Ling Xiao's residence with wine and food. This was Meng Tsang's good intention. He was afraid that Ling Xiao would be hungry, so he made this arrangement. Of course, food was something with rich spirit qi. It was very helpful for increasing a martial artist's strength. He believed that Ling Xiao wouldn't refuse. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly flashed by and placed a dagger on the servant's neck. "Listen to me. Go over obediently. Don't make a sound." "Second bandit chief, what are you doing?" "Young hero Ling is our Meng village's great benefactor." The servant was shocked, but he also smelled the person scent. It was actually the second bandit chief of the Meng village. He was also Meng Chang's godfather. "Shut up and do as I say. Otherwise, I'll kill you." The second bandit chief felt that his identity had been exposed and there was no need to hide anymore, so he threatened. All right, the servant had no choice but to continue walking forward. When he arrived at Ling Xiao's residence, he gently knocked on the door bolt. "Young hero Ling, our bandit chief asked me to bring you wine and food. They're all good things with rich spirit qi. They're very beneficial for cultivation. The door is open. Just come in." Ling Xiao said indifferently. The servant pushed the door open and walked into the room. When he saw Ling Xiao, he suddenly blinked. Chapter 35:59. The second bandit chief hid behind the servant, completely concealing his aura. In addition, the sky was already dark, so no one could tell that there was a person there. Suddenly, the second bandit chief charged out from behind the servant, and 3 throwing knives flew out from his hand. The throwing knives flickered with a green light. There was no need to ask to know that they were coated with poison. Moreover, these 3 throwing knives were obviously magical treasures. Although they were only mortal grade emperor artifacts, they could greatly increase the accuracy and attack power of the throwing knives. Ling Xiao's closed eyes suddenly opened. He sneered and said, "I've been waiting for you for a long time. You're too late. Break." With a casual wave of his hand, a terrifying energy shot out from his palm and easily flung the 3 throwing knives away. They pierced into the gap in the room. Then Ling Xiao did not stop. His body trembled as he pounced toward the second bandit chief. The second bandit chief was shocked. He threw out all the throwing knives on his body. In an instant, dozens of cold lights shot out. Then the second bandit chief hurriedly turned around and fled. Ling Xiao sneered. He did not touch them and just rushed over. It was as if those throwing knives did not exist. The throwing knives were actually knocked away by the energy in his body and scattered on the ground. At this moment, Ling Xiao's figure had already arrived in front of the second bandit chief. A hand stretched out like a poisonous snake. How can he be so terrifying? The second bandit chief was shocked. He frantically increased his speed and fled. However, it was useless. Ling Xiao slapped the second bandit chief's face, and the second bandit chief was directly sent flying out of the room. He fell outside. The commotion had already alarmed the people of the Meng village. Because this was the Nine-Eyed Lotus's growth area, there were many warriors of the Meng village stationed here. Their reaction was very fast. Under the moonlight, everyone was shocked when they saw the second bandit chief, who was knocked to the ground. "Second bandit chief, what happened to you?" "Quick, stop that lunatic for me. He wants to steal our Nine-Eyed Lotus. Since I found him, I'll kill him to silence him." The second bandit chief pointed at Ling Xiao, who walked out of the room and shouted loudly. These people felt that it was unbelievable. But since it was the second bandit chief, it should not be wrong. Therefore, they quickly surrounded Ling Xiao. "Young hero Ling, is what second bandit chief said true?" Although they had surrounded Ling Xiao, the people of Meng village were not ungrateful people. They saw with their own eyes that Ling Xiao killed the Hydra and saved Meng Fian and Meng Yi. How could he act rashly? "What are you talking about? This kid is with the Black Warrior. Think about it carefully. With his strength, how could he move against Hydra? There must be a Black Warrior helping him secretly, and the person who helped him might be underwater. Also, why did the Black Warrior who was fighting with the chief run away as soon as he saw him? He definitely knew him. Have you ever heard of a Black Warrior being scared? Those people are men of sacrifice." This second bandit chief was really a smart man. With such an explanation, many people from Meng village began to doubt him. "Young hero Ling, please explain." Everyone said. At this time, Meng Tsang, Meng Fian, and Meng Yi were not here. These people did not trust Ling Xiao as much as they did. "Explain what?" "This person tried to assassinate me in the middle of the night. I was just fighting back." "Is this how the people of Meng village treat their guests?" Ling Xiao said as he walked toward the second bandit chief and said coldly, "No matter what you say today, you can't escape death. I, Ling Xiao, do things based on my heart. You tried to kill me, so I won't let you see tomorrow's sun." "Young hero Ling, this is Meng village, and second bandit chief is our second in command. If you want to attack, then I'm sorry." The people of Meng village naturally had to protect their second bandit chief. How could they easily believe the words of an outsider? Not to mention, this outsider wanted to kill their second bandit chief. "That's right. Why are we talking nonsense with this kid? Let's work together and kill him." "I think second bandit chief is right. This guy is a spy of the Black Warrior. Kill him." "Kill." Suddenly, four figures dashed out from the crowd. The corner of Ling Xiao's mouth curled up into a sneer. Although the rest of the people of Meng village believed in their second bandit chief, they only stopped Ling Xiao and prevented him from killing people. But these four people were different. They actually planned to work together to kill Ling Xiao. How vicious their intentions were. "Have you finally shown your foxtail?" Ling Xiao said sarcastically. "Leader Meng Tsang, I'm right? He suddenly looked at his house. From inside, 3 people walked out. Meng Tsang, Meng Yi, and Meng Fian. It turned out that Ling Xiao had long suspected that there were spies of the Black Warrior in Meng village, so he cooperated with them to put on such a show. But he didn't expect to catch a big fish like the second bandit chief. Along the way, he also caught 4 poisonous fishes that were hidden very deeply. "Second brother, how do you explain this?" Meng Tsang said coldly, "Don't talk nonsense. The servant you kidnapped just now was Meng Yi. But it was dark and you wanted to kill young hero Ling, so you didn't notice. Don't tell me you want to deny it?" How could this be? The second bandit chief's face instantly became very ugly. "What are you afraid of? Since we've been exposed, there's no need to hide anymore. The 4 of us are all second LV of the true energy realm. We didn't kill Meng Tsang because we wanted to learn how to cultivate the nine-eyed lotus. With the 4 of us, killing Meng Tsang will be easy. As for that kid, there's nothing special about him." The 4 people were even more shameless than the second bandit chief. Since they had been exposed, there was no need to hide anymore. Hiding it was unnecessary and stupid. "Fine. Today I'll tell you why." The second bandit chief stood up and said coldly, "Meng Tsang, if we join the Black Warrior, Meng village will only become stronger. But you don't want to. Do you know that the leader of the Black Warrior is a 4th LV of the Divine Pulse Realm? If he wants to, he can easily destroy Meng village. As a matter of fact, more than half of the nearby 72 villages have been destroyed by the Black Warrior. Do you want Meng village to suffer the same fate?" "Shut up. Don't make it sound so dignified, as if you care a lot about Meng village. As far as I know, more than half of the destroyed water stronghold belonged to the Black Warriors. And the result? Large numbers of water bandits were killed simply because they were too weak. The rest of them were enslaved and forced to do things they didn't want to do. Is this the future you want? Meng Tsang said disdainfully, "You are a man. Don't you dare to speak the truth?" Truth? The truth is that I want to replace you and become the chief of Meng village. Also, your daughter will become my wife. The second bandit chief finally revealed a ferocious smile and said loudly, "Ha ha ha, that's right. Why should we be afraid of Meng village? Don't worry, second bandit chief. We have already contacted the chief. Tonight, the chief will personally appear. Don't worry. Meng village will be yours tonight." Chapter 3560. Before Ling Xiao could make a move, Meng Tsang had already arrived in front of him. However, the four of them were martial artists in the second level of the Divine Vein Realm. Meng Tsang might be stronger than any of them, but he was only in the second level of the Divine Vein Realm. He only relied on his strong physical body. How could he withstand the joint attack of the four? With a loud bang, Meng Tsang was pushed back dozens of steps and almost fell to the ground. "Village head Meng, remember this. You owe me a favor tonight." Ling Xiao didn't say anything. He held the Ice Supreme sword in his hand and walked towards the four. The four of them sneered. One of them said, "How much stronger can you be compared to Meng Tsang? It's useless against us." After that, the four of them attacked at the same time. They pounced on Ling Xiao. "Be careful, brother Ling." Meng Fian and Meng Yi shouted nervously. However, their voices didn't fade away completely, for corpses fell from the sky. Their throats were all cut open. A look of extreme terror appeared on his face. At the moment before they died, they realized what kind of terrifying existence they had offended. The others were also dumbfounded. This young man with the surname Ling was too domineering and powerful. He killed 4 martial artists in the second level of the Divine Vein Realm with a single slash. With such strength, it was no wonder he was from the Purple Mansion Academy. He is indeed a Purple Mansion Academy special envoy. Otherwise, there is no way to explain his terrifying strength. That's right. I had my suspicions before, but it seems like there is no need to doubt it now. However, after killing the 4 of them, will he really attract the leader of the Black Martial Artists? I am also worried about this. The Black Martial Artists have 3 leaders. The leader is in the 4th level of the Divine Vein Realm. The 2nd and 3rd leaders are in the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. The 3 of them basically dominate the Sleeping Forest. Our Meng village has never dared to provoke them. Even if we are attacked by the Black Martial Artists, we will obediently let them go. Everyone was a little worried, afraid that Ling Xiao's actions would attract even stronger enemies. However, Ling Xiao was disdainful of them. His cultivation was in the 2nd level of the Divine Vein Realm. Killing a martial artist in the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm was as easy as chopping vegetables. Even if it was a martial artist at the 4th level of the Divine Vein Realm, once he transformed into the unbounded Heavenly Rat, he would be able to defeat them easily. Or rather, he hoped that the leader of the Black Warriors could be stronger. In that case, he would be able to use an Emperor-level martial skill. When he used an Emperor-grade martial skill, his cultivation would increase. Ignoring the discussions of those people, he walked towards the 2nd bandit chief and said coldly, "Are you going to kill yourself, or do you want me to kill you? If you dare to kill me, you will become the enemy of the Black Warrior. The leader will not let you go." The 2nd bandit chief roared. "You mean you don't intend to commit suicide? Fine, I'll end you." Ling Xiao laughed coldly. He raised his hand and slapped the 2nd bandit chief's head. He knew that Meng Tsang and the others couldn't do it. Since that was the case, he would be the one to deal with it. In any case, this person had tried to assassinate him in the middle of the night. If he killed this person, it wouldn't be considered as killing an innocent person. Dark warrior body. The 2nd bandit chief roared in anger. Black smoke rolled out from his body. and a layer of black armor gathered on the surface of his body. Although he was looking forward to the leader of the Black Warriors coming to save him, based on the current situation, the leader of the Black Warriors might not be able to make it in time. So he could only take the initiative to protect himself. The Dark Warrior body was an advanced king level martial skill. It was given to him by the leader of the Black Warriors in order to gain his loyalty. After he got it, he cultivated it as if he was drunk. Now he had achieved a lot. After releasing the Dark Warrior body, the second bandit chief was relieved. In his opinion, no matter how strong Ling Xiao was, it would be impossible for him to destroy the Dark Warrior armor in a short time. As long as he could buy some time and wait for the leader of the Black Warriors to arrive, he would be able to live. Crack! The crisp cracking sound completely shattered all of the second bandit chief's hopes. Ling Xiao only punched the black armor with an ordinary fist, but it was easily torn apart. With Ling Xiao's current strength, his ordinary attack could reach the advanced king level martial skill. The second bandit chief's cultivation was only at the first level of the divine pulse realm. Even if he had advanced king level martial skill, his defense was not that strong. At most, it could reduce 20% of the damage, but it was still meaningless. Stop! How dare you touch the people of the Black Warriors? Today, you will die without a burial place. At this moment, two voices came from afar. The voices were ruthless and ruthless. The warriors of the Meng village were so scared that their bodies trembled. This terrifying aura was clearly from a more powerful existence. It was definitely not something they could resist. Oh no, the Meng village is finished. Everyone's hearts were filled with terror. However, Ling Xiao did not seem to hear the warning at all. He still slapped the second bandit chief's head with his palm. Crack! The second bandit chief's head was shattered. The terrifying palm power penetrated the second bandit chief's body. On the surface, he looked unscathed, but inside he was completely destroyed. After all, he is your second bandit chief. I will not destroy his body. You can deal with it yourselves. After killing the second bandit chief, Ling Xiao looked back at Meng Song and said, "Thank you, young hero Ling. But if the leader of the Black Warriors comes, even you will not be able to resist. You should leave." Meng Song said it was not that he did not want Ling Xiao to help, but because he felt that there was no use for Ling Xiao to stay. At most, there would be one more casualty list. Instead of everyone dying, it was better to leave Ling Xiao alive. In the future, he might be able to avenge them. Young hero Ling, you are a genius of the Zifu Academy. Sooner or later, you will be extremely powerful. In the future, if possible, help us get rid of the Black Warriors. It will be considered as revenge for us. This was Meng Song's heartfelt words. That's right, Brother Ling. You should leave quickly, Meng Yi said anxiously. However, Ling Xiao only smiled and did not pay any attention to him. Instead, he looked at the two figures in the distance. They were very fast, a man and a woman. Their cultivation could not hide under his Taiji eye. They were obviously in the third tier of the divine vein realm, but in terms of strength, they should be weaker than Wang Yongming. After all, Wang Yongming was a member of the Zifu Academy. He had received more formal training than these commoners. The two of them arrived quickly. The man had black hair and a black dragon tattooed in between his eyebrows. The woman had silver hair, but she was not old. When the two of them saw Ling Xiao, their eyes were filled with malice. "Brat, you dare to kill him after hearing our words. You have guts," the black-haired man said coldly. "Brother Long, why are you talking nonsense with him? Why don't you just kill him? Although the second bandit chief is just a chess piece that can be discarded at any time. But before you beat a dog, you have to look at its owner." This brat completely ignored our warning. He did not take us, the Black Warriors, seriously. The silver-haired woman's temper seemed to be more violent than the black-haired man's. Her words were also more aggressive. Chapter 3561. If we just kill him like this, it will be too easy for him. Kid, do you want to cripple your own cultivation and let us bring you back to the Black Warrior headquarters? Or do you want us to use the cruelest method to kill you? The black-haired man stared at Ling Xiao as if he was staring at a dead man. His eyes emitted a sinister look, filled with murderous intent. Hee, I won't choose either of them. I choose you to die. Ling Xiao looked at the two men and said calmly. When the crowd saw how calm he was, they couldn't help but swallow their saliva. They had no idea how strong this disciple of the Purple Mansion Academy was, but they could only depend on him. There was no one in the Meng village who could deal with these two leaders of the Black Warriors. It is not up to you to choose. Today not only will you die, you will also die a horrible death. But we are merciful. We will leave you with one last breath, and let you see how the Meng village will be destroyed. The silver-haired woman sneered. Whoosh! With a flash, the silver-haired woman appeared in front of Ling Xiao at an astonishing speed. Then, she struck out with her palm, aiming at Ling Xiao's head. It seemed like it was because Ling Xiao had killed the second chief. She also planned to use this method to kill Ling Xiao so that she could face him. You are quite fast. Ling Xiao sneered and raised his palm to block the attack. The silver-haired woman unleashed a powerful force from her palm, causing the dust on the ground to fly. The terrifying palm energy made the faces of the Meng village's warriors turn ugly. However, Ling Xiao was still calm, as if nothing had happened. At this moment, the black-haired man also moved. A long sword appeared in his hand, thrusting toward Ling Xiao's heart. Ling Xiao used his right hand to block the silver-haired woman, while his left hand punched toward the long sword in the black-haired man's hand. Clang! The fist and the long sword collided, and sparks flew out. Is this all you have? This is really disappointing. Ling Xiao sneered and transformed into the nine-snake General Beast Soul. This nine-headed snake, General Beast Soul, had been strengthened by the nine-headed snake he had just obtained. It was already at the third level of the divine vein realm. The moment the beast soul possessed his body, Ling Xiao's strength, speed, and true essence all increased by 10 times. The terrifying snake head poked out from behind him. It bit at the man and woman in a frenzy. The two men tried to avoid him. However, he found that Ling Xiao's hands were tightly gripping him, and he couldn't break free. In just an instant, they were bitten by the snake's head. It let out a hysterical scream as its body gradually turned black and finally turned into a pool of pus. So powerful! When the people from Meng Village saw this scene, they all cried out in shock. The strength that Ling Xiao displayed was simply inconceivable. They had lived here for many years and had never seen such a terrifying young man. Young miss, tell me honestly, did Big Brother Ling kill that Wang Yongming? Meng, he wasn't an idiot. He saw how easily Ling Xiao killed a martial artist at the third level of the divine vein realm. Naturally, he would think of this. Sure, it's fine as long as you know it. Don't tell anyone, or else it will cause a lot of trouble. Meng Fian hurriedly said. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Meng Yi worshipped Ling Xiao even more. Even the Purple Mansion's special envoy wasn't a match for his big brother Ling. This was really shocking. Village chief, this is bad. The Meng village is surrounded by the Black Warriors. Just when everyone was overjoyed, a warrior from the Meng village suddenly ran over and said loudly he was currently injured. However, it didn't seem like his life was in danger. However, since the Meng village was surrounded by the Black Warriors, the others might be in danger. Where are they? Meng Song asked. They are just ahead. Their leader is also there. Hearing this, Ling Xiao sneered and jumped into the water. He stepped on the surface of the water and moved forward. The rest of the people jumped onto the boat and chased after him. Fian, you said last night that this young hero Ling isn't from the Purple Mansion Academy. But look at his control of True Yuan. It's really exquisite. This kind of floating on water skill is something that ordinary people can't do. Even if they have the same cultivation as him, they still can't do it. Where did he come from? Meng Tsang couldn't help but ask. Actually, we don't know either. We met Big Brother Ling in the sleeping forest. At first, we thought he was a spy of the Black Warriors. If it wasn't for him, we would have all died. Meng Yi said, Sleeping forest? Is it near the western region? Meng Tsang asked, Yes, how did you know, village chief? Meng Yi was stunned and asked, That's impossible. Meng Tsang already had an answer in his heart, but no matter how he thought about it, he still felt that it was impossible. For tens of thousands of years, there had never been a martial artist from the western region that could come from there. What's impossible? Meng Fian and Meng Yi were confused. However, at this moment, the boat had already reached the island at the front. At this moment, the island was in a mess. The Black Warriors had already attacked. Although the Meng village's martial artists fought back with all their might, there was still a difference in strength. Meng Tsang anxiously jumped onto the shore. Just as he was about to attack, he suddenly saw Ling Xiao leaping into the air. Suddenly, the 9 snake heads on his back released 9 layers of poisonous fog. The poisonous fog spread among the crowd as if it could distinguish between friend and foe. The Black Warriors were poisoned to the ground. Even if they didn't fall, their combat strength was greatly reduced. They were easily killed by the Meng village's martial artists. Seeing the scene, Meng Tsang's eyes almost popped out. How can there be such a powerful existence in the western region? Has the law there changed? Meng Tsang hadn't even made a move yet, but almost all of the enemies were dead. Only the Black Warrior leader was left. He madly rushed toward Ling Xiao. Die! The leader of the Black Warriors was enraged. His black sword pierced towards Ling Xiao. The terrifying power caused the ruins on the ground to tremble. Ling Xiao hastily blocked it, but he was directly hit to the ground. Meng Tsang was shocked. Ling Xiao was now the hope of the Meng village. If something happened to him, the Meng village would basically be finished. Fortunately, although Ling Xiao fell to the ground, he didn't seem to be hurt. Die! After defeating Ling Xiao with a sword, the Black Warrior leader suddenly felt more confident. Originally, when he saw Ling Xiao appear, he was still worried that this was some incredible expert. But now it seemed that he was just SOSO. He shook the sword in his hand and attacked Ling Xiao again. The power of this sword was even more ferocious than the previous one. The air kept shaking because of it. Clang! A dazzling sword light bloomed in the void. The terrifying sword light instantly pierced through the void. It cut through everything. Venerable Ice's cold sky sword art directly collided with the Black Warrior leader's sword. It completely destroyed the opponent's sword energy. At the same time, the sword energy of Venerable Ice's cold sky sword art also collapsed. You also use a sword. The Black Warrior leader looked at Ling Xiao and frowned. The moment he drew his sword, it was obvious that his combat strength was much higher than when he was barehanded. Chapter 3562. So you also use a sword, but it's a pity that not everyone can use a sword. Seeing Ling Xiao unsheath his sword, the leader sneered and released a terrifying sword intent. Behind him, the sword martial spirit was released. The sword martial spirit emitted a terrifying aura. 6th stage sword spirit. Out of all the martial artists that Ling Xiao had met in the 4 major regions, the one with the highest grade of martial soul was the leader of the Black Warriors. His cultivation was stronger than Wang Yongming's, and his martial spirit was also more powerful. He was indeed not easy to deal with. I can try the move I just learned. Ling Xiao had been practicing in the house. Although he was interrupted by the second chief, he still had some gains. He had finally comprehended the 6 swords in one, and with his current cultivation he could use it once. But with the heart of gold, as long as he had potential, he could constantly recover, constantly improve. Seeing the big leader of the Black Warriors thrusting his sword over, a crazy storm of sword chi appeared in the sky. This storm blew the earth. The ruins on the ground were shattered. Ling Xiao stood there, looking at his opponent indifferently. Fire Supreme Sword, Ice Supreme Sword, Soul Supreme Sword, Exquisite Sword, 7-star Sword, Snake Supreme Sword. 6 sword lights appeared at the same time, circling around his body. Then they suddenly condensed into one, blooming with 6 dazzling lights. 6 swords in one, 6 supreme swords in one kill. Following Ling Xiao's shout, the 6 colored lights crazily poured out. At that moment, the leader's face changed dramatically. Impossible, it's actually an emperor-level martial skill. He only had one thought at this time, and that was to escape. Escape crazily. Unfortunately, it was too late to escape now. The 6 colored sword lights were extremely fast, and in a flash, they shattered the leader's sword storm. And then, without stopping, they directly pierced through the leader's body. The leader was still in midair, but a big hole had already appeared in his body. How can this be? Why is there such a strong warrior here? He was not reconciled. The reason why he led the dark warriors to hide in the sleeping forest was because the nearby forces were relatively weak. This way, he would be able to find more opportunities to devour resources and make himself stronger. But why? Even until his death, he did not understand how he had encountered such a powerful opponent. Bang! The corpse fell into the ruins, creating a cloud of dust. There was dead silence all around. All the fighting stopped in an instant. For the warriors of Meng Village, this was simply a great surprise. They had thought that this would be a battle of life and death. At least half of the 50 to 60,000 people would be sacrificed. But now, although there were sacrifices, the casualties were only about 1,000 people. Because of the appearance of this terrifying young man, the Black Warrior almost collapsed at the first touch. Now, even the leader of the Black Warriors was killed by this young man in one move. On the other hand, there were only a few hundred Black Warriors left because they had been poisoned. At this time, all of them dropped their weapons and knelt down. He repeatedly begged for mercy. Tie them all up and lock them in the water prison. Finally, Meng Tsang was the first to recover from his shock. He ordered to capture those Black Warriors who had surrendered. Anyway, there were not many people left. Even if they really rebelled, they had a way to deal with them. After giving this order, he walked toward Ling Xiao. Once again, the dignified village chief directly knelt down. The warriors of the surrounding villages also knelt down, including Meng Fian and Meng Yi. Young hero's great kindness, my Meng village will never forget it. Never forget it. Everyone began to shout. Only then did Ling Xiao wake up from his contemplation. Just now, Ling Xiao was checking the condition of his body. Just as he expected, the 6 swords combined into one had indeed reached the level of emperor-level martial skill. And this attack also increased the energy in his sea of cultivation by about 10%. This speed was quite fast. The more powerful experts he met in the future, the faster the speed of improvement would be. He was now looking forward to the trip to the Purple Mansion Academy more and more. Everyone get up. I can't accept such a big gift from you. Although Ling Xiao said so, he seemed very calm. He saved tens of thousands of lives of the Meng village and solved the biggest crisis of the Meng village. In fact, asking for anything was not too much. It was just a big gift. It was nothing. Big brother Ling, didn't you say that you have something to discuss with my father? Meng Fian said. I almost forgot. How about it, village chief Meng Tsang? Why don't we go to your room and talk? Ling Xiao did have something to say. With what he had done to the Meng village, it should not be difficult to let a few warriors come here to further their studies. Of course, no problem, as long as young Hero Ling asks. Even if you want me to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of fire, there is no problem. Meng Tsang patted his chest and said, It's not that exaggerated. Ling Xiao smiled and entered Meng Tsang's room with Meng Tsang, Meng Fian, Meng Yi, and a few elders of the Meng village. Before he could say anything, Meng Tsang said, If young Hero likes the 9-eyed lotus, you can pick them all. They will grow again next year anyway. As soon as he said this, The other village elders did not object to it. What a joke! Ling Xiao had saved the entire Ming village. All he did was pick some nine-eyed lotus. It was nothing. Let's not talk about that. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, "It's like this. The place I came from is lacking in resources, so the warriors are relatively weak. Other than me, the strongest one is only at the 5th or 6th level of the reincarnation divine realm. What I mean is, can we let the Meng village become a place for our warriors to further their studies? Their talent is not bad, but unfortunately they lack resources and such a good cultivation environment." Sigh. I was wondering what young hero was going to say. This is a small matter. But how many people can come? Meng Tsang asked. Not many. At most, there are about 10 of them. Ling Xiao thought for a while and said he would naturally send a message back and choose the 10 most outstanding people. Bai Fong mentioned Dark Frost, Jian Fulong, Long Sha, and so on. Although these people had positions in the Heavenly Dynasty Empire, this was a small matter. The matter over there was no longer a big deal. The most important thing now was to let some experts appear in the Heavenly Dynasty Empire. One had to know that the laws over there had changed recently. Originally, only martial artists at the 9th level of the reincarnation divine realm were allowed to go there. It might not be so in the future. If the warriors of the 4 regions attacked the western region, they could only wait to be slaughtered. However, as long as a few supreme experts appeared, it would be a different story. He believed in the aptitude of Dark Frost and the others. Once they came to this place, their cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. There are only so few people. Leave it to me. Meng Tsang agreed immediately. Okay, then I'll thank you here. What are you thanking me for? If it weren't for young Hero Ling, our Meng village would be finished. Meng Tsang still knew what was good for him. Chapter 35:63. Then I will talk about my second request. I plan to go to the Zifu Academy. However, I have never been there before, so I would like to ask for a map from you. Do you have it? He had already told Meng Tsang and the other village elders about his identity. However, most of the people in the Meng village did not know about it. Aya, I'm afraid we can't help you with this. You should know that we are a poor village. The only maps we have are the Sleeping Forest and the City of Raging Fire. We don't have any other maps. Meng Tsang frowned. Village head, when I was young, I went to the 10,000 Flames main city. When I came back, I bought a map. I have never used it, so I will give it to this young hero. No matter how grateful we are, it cannot be compared to the great kindness this young hero has shown our Meng village. One of the village elders smiled and stood up. I will be back soon. Young Hero Ling, with the map of the 10,000 Flames main city, things will be easier. You can go to the 10,000 Flames main city first. Once you are there, you should be able to buy the map of the Purple Spirit Country. After that, you can go to the capital of the Purple Spirit Country. From there, it will be much easier to go to the Purple Mansion Country. Meng Tsang explained. I understand. Thank you. Ling Xiao wanted to go to the Zifu Academy directly, but it seemed that it would be more troublesome. However, haste makes waste. He might as well use the time on the road to improve his cultivation. He would try to become stronger when he reached the Zifu Academy. After a while, the village elder returned and gave the map to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao took a look at the map and memorized it in his mind. With the Tai Chi eye, he basically had an eidetic memory. I will leave this map in the Ming village. I have memorized it. Maybe my friends will need it in the future. Ling Xiao was like a vanguard. He would pave the way for the Celestial Empire. The martial artists of the Celestial Empire only needed to follow the path he had taken. This way it would be much safer. Memorized it? Everyone was stunned. This young hero Ling was not only strong, but his memory was also terrifying. He remembered it in just a moment. Yes, I will leave when the sun rises, Ling Xiao said with a smile. Young hero Ling, the journey to the Purple Kingdom is fraught with danger. Not only were there bandits and robbers, but there were also evil cults like the Black Warriors. They had committed all kinds of crimes. Although you are powerful, you are still alone. It would be better to travel with others. I remember that there is a raging Inferno Guild Hall in the Myriad Flames main city. That is the place where raging Inferno City's martial artists gather. Perhaps it will be of help. Meng Tsang added. Thank you for your reminder. I won't stand on ceremony with the nine-eyed lotus then. Ling Xiao was not a bashful person. Since he had saved the entire Meng village, there was nothing wrong with using the nine-eyed lotus. Ha ha ha! I was worried that young Hero Ling wouldn't use it. Meng Tsang laughed out loud. Ling Xiao smiled as well. He stepped on the water and plucked all the nine-eyed lotuses. Then they returned to the room from before. He spent nearly an entire night refining the nine-eyed lotus into 1,000 nine-eyed lotus pills. He first used one to raise his black tortoise divine physique to the peak of the king realm. Then he took out 100 pills and went to Meng Tsang. These nine-eyed lotus pills were refined by me. You can use them. The effect is 100 times better than the nine-eyed lotus. Also, I got these peak of the king realm martial skills from the leader of the Black Warriors. You can use them as well. I only have one request, and that is to treat my brothers and sisters well. Ling Xiao had always believed in one principle. Feelings would fade, but benefits would not. He had given so many benefits to the Meng village. In addition, these people were afraid of his strength. Naturally, they would do their best to take care of the people of the Heavenly Dynasty Empire. This way, he could go to the Purple Mansion Academy with peace of mind. Young Hero Ling, don't worry. I, Meng Tsang, swear that as long as the Meng village exists, I will take good care of the people you mentioned. Meng Tsang said very seriously. Yes, when they came, they would naturally wear a token. It's easy to recognize them. It's dawn, I should set off. Looking at the rising sun in the distance, Ling Xiao knew that he could not delay any longer. Big brother Ling, will we have a chance to meet in the future? Meng Fian bit her lips and said reluctantly, Don't worry, with your potential, you will come to the Purple Mansion Academy sooner or later. If I'm still there, we will definitely meet again. Farewell. After saying that, he did not say anything else and directly left. Although he could not fly, his speed was still very fast. Girl, young Hero Ling is not the same as us. Don't waste your feelings. Meng Tsang glanced at his daughter and sighed. He was an experienced person. How could he not see that his daughter liked Ling Xiao? But what kind of person was Ling Xiao? At such a young age, he already had such terrifying strength. In the future, he would definitely stand at the top of the 4 major regions. How could these people reach it? I know, father. Meng Fian gritted her teeth. She knew, but she was still unwilling to give up. She wanted to become better and be worthy of Ling Xiao. After leaving the Meng village, Ling Xiao followed the route on the map and headed toward the 10,000 Flames main city. On the way, he released a puppet eagle to help him stay alert of the surroundings. He had snatched this puppet eagle from Lu Ruhua. He had modified it after studying it. Basically, it could operate for about a month by consuming a piece of high-grade spirit stone. It was very frugal. However, it could only be used to survey the environment. It could not fight. Now, Ling Xiao's cultivation had reached the 2nd level of the Divine Vein Realm. If he went all out, he could defeat a martial artist at the 4th level of the Divine Vein Realm without using the Sky Tyrant Martial Spirit, just like the leader of the Black Warriors. Because he did not have an Emperor-class martial technique, he was at a disadvantage in front of him. He could even kill him in one move. If he used the Sky Tyrant Martial Spirit, he could even fight a martial artist at the 5th level of the Divine Vein Realm. But this was only for ordinary martial artists. If it was some geniuses, they would not be able to surpass so many levels. Therefore, Ling Xiao's desire for strength was very urgent. On the way, he did not avoid those powerful demonic beasts. As long as he could use his Emperor-class martial techniques, he would kill every demonic beast he saw. It was the same if he encountered some bandits. To him, fighting could increase his cultivation. Therefore, there was no need to avoid fighting. The heart of gold not only retained the method he used to increase his cultivation, but it also added a new method to increase his cultivation. To him, this was an extremely good thing. Since the heavens wanted him to fight, then he would fight to his heart's content. After all, he was a person who liked to fight. To martial artists, when they stopped fighting, or when they were afraid of fighting, or when they were tired of fighting, it meant that their martial path had come to an end. The martial path was like sailing against the current. If you did not advance, you would fall behind. While you were relaxed, others were not. Chapter 3564. The distance between the city of raging fire and the city of 10,000 flames was not short. Fortunately, Ling Zhao's speed was not slow either. Along the way, he even subdued some wild demonic beasts to help him travel. Finally, after 10 days, he arrived at the border of the city of 10,000 flames. Looking at the huge city walls that were like a country, Ling Zhao knew that he had arrived at his destination. In terms of size, the city of 10,000 flames was at least 100 times larger than the city of raging fire. The population was probably 100 times larger as well. The normal population of the city of raging fire was about 1 million. The normal population of the city of 10,000 flames was about 10 million. He felt that if this was the case, the population of the entire golden firmament might be much more than what he had calculated previously. It was really frighteningly large. The layout of the city of 10,000 flames was similar to that of the city of raging fire. It was just that all the roads were more spacious. There were also more roads to enter the city. There were several official roads in the north, south, east, and west directions. Moreover, the city of 10,000 flames did not have a city wall. This was something that Ling Zhao had never seen before. Perhaps they felt that the city wall was meaningless. In front of powerful martial artists, the city wall was like a piece of paper. In the end, it was still the strong that decided the outcome of the battle. Entering the city of 10,000 flames did not require anything. There was not even a city guard. Everyone could enter and leave freely. Only when something happened in the city of 10,000 flames would they set up checkpoints to investigate. On the way, he saw many martial artists riding puppet beasts. Some puppet beasts were even modified to look very strange. They did not look like demonic beasts at all. They were just vehicles that carried people. There were also a few people riding real demonic beasts. Most of them were experts. After all, it was not easy to tame demonic beasts. On the way, he noticed that there was a checkpoint in front. He only knew when he walked in. It turned out that something had happened in front. There was a fight and one side was killed. Speaking of which, this kind of thing was not considered much in other cities. If the people did not report it, the officials would not investigate. In the martial world, what was killing a person? However, in the Purple Kingdom, it was actually so strict. He noticed that the cultivation of those soldiers in special clothes was not inferior to Wang Yongming's. One of them was even at the 4th level of the divine vein realm, stronger than Wang Yongming. He couldn't help but be startled. Since when did the strength of a soldier become so terrifying? Just as he was deep in thought, he heard a commotion from the crowd. He hurried over. This was because he was also very concerned about this matter. This was related to his development in the Purple Kingdom. If he didn't get to the bottom of this, it would be very troublesome. Among the few people who spoke, the weakest cultivation was at the 9th level of the reincarnation divine realm. 2 of the stronger ones were already at the 1st level of the divine vein realm. It was said that other than the children, the weakest person in the 10,000 Flames main city, regardless of gender, was at least at the 9th level of the reincarnation divine state. Those who had not reached this level of cultivation were not allowed to stay here for long periods of time. At most, he could only stay for a few days. Did you see that? It's the Z Mansion Army. That's right. The Purple Mansion Army is the official army of the Purple Mansion Kingdom. The minimum requirement was the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. The Zifu Academy specializes in cultivating talents for the Zifu Army. TSK, how enviable. The Z Mansion Army is much better than the local army in terms of treatment and status. 10,000 men of the Purple Mansion Army are stationed in the 10,000 Flames main city, and they specialize in dealing with conflicts between warriors. I know about that, but I heard that a 4th-level Divine Vein Realm warrior is involved in this murder case. That's why even a sergeant is here. Every sergeant is at the 4th level of the Divine Vein Realm, and they are only in charge of 10 men. I wonder how strong the centurions, chiliarchs, and captains are. I've heard about this before. I heard that a centurion is in charge of 10 teams, a total of 100 men, and the centurion is at least at the 6th level of the Divine Vein Realm. Chiliarchs are at least at the 7th level of the Divine Vein Realm. Captains are at least at the 8th level of the Divine Vein Realm, and the stronger ones might even be at the Divine Core Realm. I heard that once a student from the elite class of the Zifu Academy graduates, he or she will be promoted to the position of captains. That's what I call awesome. But captains are nothing. I heard that the Purple Mansion Army has 50 million men, but the actual number might be even higher. That means there are at least 5,000 captains. Hearing up to here, Ling Zhao's mind was filled with terrifying waves. He thought that the hundreds of thousands of students in the Purple Mansion Academy were already abnormal enough. He never expected there to be something even more abnormal. The Purple Mansion Army actually had 50 million men. Luckily, he didn't feel complacent about it. If not, he would have just compared it to the Purple Mansion Army. They were only slightly stronger than ordinary Purple Mansion Army soldiers. Because of these 50 million Purple Mansion Army soldiers, the security of our Purple Mansion Kingdom is so good. Even if a warrior kills someone, he or she will have to investigate it thoroughly. Have you heard about it? A few days ago, a Purple Mansion Army soldier went missing in the city of Raging Flame. In order to investigate this matter, dozens of Purple Mansion Army soldiers have headed to the city of Raging Flame. Perhaps in other places, this kind of thing isn't a big deal, but in our Purple Mansion Kingdom, we can't allow this kind of thing to happen. That's right. Among all the kingdoms, no one is safer than our Purple Mansion Kingdom. All the surrounding kingdoms are filled with sects, and killing is a common occurrence. I heard that if a sect slaughters another sect, the imperial court won't do anything about it. After all, it's just a rumor. We are just ordinary people, and we might never be able to leave the Purple Spirit Kingdom, let alone the Purple Mansion Kingdom. As for the other kingdoms, we can only hear about them through hearsay. Sigh, when will I have the chance to visit the other kingdoms? It's not a bad idea. Listening to these people's discussion, Ling Xiao was carefully calculating in his mind. Not to mention the other kingdoms, just the Purple Mansion Army alone had 5,000 warriors at the 9th level of the Divine Vein Realm. It was said that some of the stronger ones could even reach the Divine Core Realm. This was really frightening. Luckily, the ancient Sword Emperor didn't attack the Divine Devil City and come to the 4 major regions. Otherwise, even if they weren't killed, they would have been scared to death. After all, in the 4 major regions, existences like the ancient Sword Emperor could be found everywhere. As for existences like the 8 ancient emperors, they were as numerous as the hairs on an ox. Ling Xiao was glad that Meng Tsong had reminded him. With his current cultivation, he could only fight with a 5th-level Divine Vein warrior by using the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul. In other words, he wasn't even qualified to be a centurion. With such strength, he wanted to go to the Purple Mansion Academy? What a joke! It was better for him to take one step at a time. Maybe he could spend some time in the Purple Spirit Kingdom and raise his cultivation to a higher level. Then he could go to the Purple Mansion Academy. Those people's discussion didn't stop. After talking about the Purple Mansion Army, they also talked about the situation in the Myriad Flame main city. The city lord of Raging Flame City was only at the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm, the same as the most ordinary Purple Mansion Army. Chapter 3565. The mayor of Wanyan Main City had reached the 7th level of the Divine Vein Realm. Compared to the mayor of Raging Fire City, who was at the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm, he was much stronger. And this cultivation was the strength of a chiliarch of the Zifu army. It could be seen that every Chiliarch had the strength of a main city's mayor. They really couldn't be underestimated. However, the stronger the Zifu army was, the more Ling Xiao wanted to join. Only the more powerful the place was, the more powerful the opponent would be. Only then would one be able to obtain resources that would allow one to rise rapidly. He followed Meng Tsang's recommendation and found the Raging Fire Guild Hall first. There were few warriors from Raging Fire City resting there. These people were at the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm, which just met the minimum requirement of the Zifu army. They should be preparing to join the Zifu army. Ling Xiao also joined the conversation. Because he was also from Raging Fire City, they didn't reject him. I joined the Zifu army, mainly to fight for a good future. One of them glanced at Ling Xiao and didn't pay much attention to him. He continued to talk about his own affairs. As long as you can become a Chiliarch, you can become the mayor of Raging Fire City after your service. After your service, you can become the mayor of this main city. At the very least, you can become a sergeant and sit on the throne of an ordinary main city's mayor. The mayor of Raging Fire City was actually not qualified. He only became the mayor of Raging Fire City because he had a relative who was a centurion. Don't think about those things now. Whether you can survive the bloody battlefield or not is the key. Another person interrupted. Bloody battlefield, survival in a dangerous place. Without enough strength and brains, it's very easy to die there. Bloody battlefield. Ling Xiao heard a new word. Young man, you haven't heard of the bloody battlefield? One of them smiled and asked, Then you still dare to join the Zifu army? Aren't you afraid of dying inexplicably? Please enlighten me. Ling Xiao took out 2 upper-grade spirit stones and handed one to each of them. These upper-grade spirit stones were good things. They could earn them by just saying a few words. It was impossible for them not to tell him. After the 2 of them took the spirit stones, one of them said, This bloody battlefield is a small world. You know about small worlds, right? Yes, I know. Ling Xiao nodded. Now that you know this, it's easy. The bloody battlefield is a very spacious place. Its area is equivalent to 30,000 small countries combined. Isn't that terrifying? It is indeed terrifying. Ling Xiao couldn't help sucking in a breath of cold air. The 10,000 Flames main city was frighteningly large, and within the small purple spirit kingdom, there are more than 1 million main cities like this. The surface area of this bloody battlefield was actually the surface area of 30,000 small countries similar to the purple spirit country added together. Wasn't this a little too big? It has a large area and is rich in resources. It was said that the bloody battlefield came from outer space and fell into the hands of the Purple Mansion Kingdom. It was transformed into a training ground for the Z Mansion army. Every capital of a small country had a portal that led to the bloody battlefield. In the capital of the Zifu Empire, there are quite a few teleportation portals like this. I heard you say that this is the training ground of the Z Mansion army, right? What kind of training is there? Ling Xiao became more and more curious. To put it bluntly, it's a fight. It's PUBG. Within the bloody battlefield, there are many unique and extreme climates, and there's also a terrifying bloody beast. No one knows what the bloody beast is, but after it's killed, it will reappear every once in a while. It's as if there's no end to it. In addition, the worst part is actually the battles between the Z Mansion army. In order to cultivate the most outstanding Z Mansion army, the Purple Mansion Kingdom allows the soldiers of the Z Mansion army to fight and kill each other. Then, they use this extremely cruel method to select the strongest warriors. This is because in the bloody battlefield, random spatial rifts will often open. From these rifts, divine weapons, natural treasures, and martial arts manuals can be spat out. Once these things appear, they'll become the fuse that ignites a fierce battle. As they spoke of this, the 2 men's expressions became very serious. To them, the bloody battlefield was probably an extremely terrifying place. If possible, they probably wouldn't want to go to such a place. But martial artists were martial artists. When faced with such a place where danger and opportunity coexisted, they would often want to give it a try. They definitely wouldn't be willing to give it up so easily. That's right. Young man, you have to think carefully. The bloody battlefield is as bloody as its name. In fact, many people from the City of Raging Fire join the Z-Mansion Army every year, but only about 10 or 20% of them can really survive. To tell you the truth, my big brother died in the bloody battlefield. The other man also sighed with emotion. Of course, in the bloody battlefield, the Z-Mansion Army will collect the battle data of everyone, in addition to the treasures in the bloody battlefield. Once they reach the outside world, they would be able to obtain huge rewards. This is indeed an opportunity. But if you make enemies in the bloody battlefield, won't you be afraid of revenge outside? Ling Xiao couldn't help but ask. That's possible. Don't worry. The Z-Mansion Army is allowed to fight and kill each other in the bloody battlefield. You can also take revenge inside. But in the outside world, such things are absolutely not allowed to happen. Otherwise, there will be a very serious punishment. That's something that no one can bear. I see. Ling Xiao nodded. This was a good idea. The bloody battlefield was simply too suitable for him. What he needed now was to fight a large number of battles. After obtaining the Heart of Gold, he might encounter a large number of experts in the bloody battlefield. He estimated that his potential would be released explosively. His cultivation would definitely increase explosively as well. Originally, he had planned to join the Z-Mansion Academy, but now he suddenly changed his mind. Listening to these people, it was obvious that the Z-Mansion Army was more suitable for him, and the Z-Mansion Academy was probably a place that specialized in training officers for the Z-Mansion Army. It was a bit like a military academy. He didn't particularly like it. He preferred to fight, because fighting could not only bring rich battle experience, but it could also increase his cultivation. To him, this was the most suitable choice. A general success was built on the bones of thousands. Perhaps in the Z-Mansion Army, this was very appropriate. To become a general at the level of a major, you had to constantly kill in the bloody battlefield. Thank you for your advice. Take these spirit stones. I have to go to the purple spirit capital of the small purple spirit country. Ling Xiao stood up and gave each of them a high-grade spirit stone. Little brother, I see that you are a good person. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't go to the purple spirit capital alone. There is a mission hall in the 10,000 Flames capital. Many martial artists would go there to accept missions. Some of them are escorting missions. It is a group mission. Perhaps you can join them. That way it will be safer. Therefore, spirit stones were still useful. If he didn't have spirit stones, these two probably wouldn't have given him such advice. Chapter 3566. What kind of good person? What kind of good intentions? Those were all fake. Only the spirit stones were real. Thank you. See you next time. Ling Xiao cupped his hands and turned to leave. He walked toward the mission hall that the two of them had mentioned. Martial artists often needed to earn some pocket money, and taking on missions was the best choice. After all, there were many rich people in this world, but there were not many powerful people. It was normal for some people to hire martial artists to complete missions for their own safety. However, Ling Xiao had never heard of this mission hall before. In the past, the missions that he took on were all sect missions. The mission hall was much more magnificent than he had imagined. It was also very easy to find. Basically, from any corner of the 10,000 Flames main city, one could see the towering building. He had never seen such a building anywhere else. He did not even know how it was built. However, the 10,000 Flames main city was indeed a little too big. Even with his speed, it took him a full hour to reach the mission hall from the blazing Fire Guild Hall. If not for the fact that martial artists had better eyesight, they would not have been able to see the hall from afar. Before arriving at the mission hall, one could feel the grandeur of the place. A person standing below was simply like an insignificant ant. After a moment of surprise, Ling Xiao lifted his foot and walked in. The hall was bustling with activity. At first glance, it was filled with people. The 4 great regions had a lot of people, not to mention other things. The weakest martial artist in the mission hall was at least at the 2nd level of the divine vein realm. Most of them were at least at the 3rd level of the divine vein realm. Just like what the 2 of them had said, there were indeed many escort missions on the bulletin board. The bulletin board was also very magical. It was like a huge jade wall. There were all kinds of formations on it that could display all kinds of missions. It could also be adjusted at any time. Ling Xiao was quite interested in taking on missions. Although he was confident, he would not be conceited. Traveling from the 10,000 Flames main city to the Purple Spirit capital city was 10 times more dangerous than traveling from the Blazing Fire main city to the 10,000 Flames main city. If one was not careful, one could die miserably on the way. If there were more people, not only could they avoid being targeted by bandits and robbers, but they could also take care of each other. Although the security of the Purple Kingdom was pretty good, that was only within the city. Once they left the city, no one would care. Therefore, even if they were killed, they would have died in vain. Little brother, if you want to find a mission, there's a small console over there. You can see it more clearly. A uniformed person who looked like a service member of the mission hall came over and said with a smile, "Thank you." Ling Xiao was just worrying about how to choose a mission on the big screen. This service was really good. The so-called console was a small screen. After clicking on it, one would be able to flip through the pages and even search for the mission one wanted. He immediately chose the restriction and headed to the Purple Spirit capital. Suddenly, the number of missions decreased. After all, the majority of the missions here were located within the 10,000 Flames main city. Otherwise, they would head to the other main cities. There were very few people who actually went to Purple Spirit City. After all, everyone knew that it was dangerous there. There were 3 missions displayed on the screen. The first mission was to deliver a letter to Violet Spirit Capital. It required 1 person, so it was not suitable. The second mission was to go to the Purple Spirit Capital to kill people. There was no limit to the number of people, but it did not support the idea of teaming up. Finally, there was only the 3rd mission left. The mission was to escort a few people to the Purple Spirit Capital. The number of people was limited to 15. The reward for this mission was quite generous. As long as the mission was successful, everyone would be rewarded with 2,000 upper-grade spirit stones. 2,000 upper-grade spirit stones was the price of a divine pulse elixir. However, although the reward was generous, the requirements were also quite high. One had to be at least at the 3rd level of the divine pulse realm. In other words, the minimum requirement for this mission was to be an ordinary member of the Purple Mansion Army. Let's give it a try. Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the 2nd level of the divine pulse realm, but his actual combat strength was already at the 5th level of the divine pulse realm. It was very easy for him to accept this mission. He tapped on the mission and checked the details. The person who issued the mission was waiting in a room on the 2nd floor of the mission hall. Those who wanted to accept the mission could go there to register. Ling Xiao looked at the information and walked up to the 2nd floor. As expected, there was a long queue at the door of the room indicated in the information. Ling Xiao was also at the back of the queue. He was not a person who liked to bully the weak. Otherwise, none of these people would be a match for him, and he could easily chase them away. Get lost. Just as he was waiting attentively, a loud shout came from behind him. A tall and burly man stared at Ling Xiao fiercely. Ling Xiao turned around and looked at the man. The burly man said angrily, "What are you looking at? I'm talking to you. You look like a weakling. How dare you line up like others? Get lost, or I'll cripple you." Ling Xiao didn't say anything. He just suddenly circulated his soul power, and a terrifying light shot out from his right eye's 4-leaf demonic pupil. The burly man who spoke suddenly took a few steps back and was so frightened that his body was trembling. "If it wasn't for the fact that I can't kill people in the city, I would definitely kill you," Ling Xiao said coldly. Not many people noticed this scene. Everyone was concerned about the situation in front. The burly man looked at Ling Xiao in horror. He didn't dare to say anything else and stood at the back obediently. However, he couldn't understand why this young man in front of him was only at the second level of the divine vein realm. How could he have such a terrifying aura? At this moment, the queue had moved quite a distance forward. Ling Xiao could see the situation in the room. There was an old man sitting at the door of the room. He looked about 60 years old. He was at the third level of the divine vein realm. There were 3 other people in the room: a young lady, a young man, and a middle-aged man. The young lady's strength seemed to have reached the 5th level of the divine vein realm. As for the young man, he was at the 4th level of the divine vein realm. As for the middle-aged man, he was only at the 3rd level of the divine vein realm. Logically speaking, such a strange combination shouldn't be weak. He really couldn't understand why they needed to recruit guards. It seemed like this mission wasn't simple. Otherwise, there must be something fishy going on. In this mission hall, there were many martial artists at the 3rd level of the divine vein realm. Fortunately, Ling Xiao came early. Otherwise, he would have gathered all the people. He probably wouldn't have a chance. The old man had strict requirements for the guard's strength. However, he didn't have any other requirements. As long as they were at the 3rd level of the divine vein realm, they could join. Finally, it was Ling Xiao's turn. There were only 2 people left. Ling Xiao walked to the door and looked at the old man. "Count me in." The old man was dressed in a gray robe. He wasn't strong, but his eyes were special. It was as if he could see through everything. He raised his head and looked at Ling Xiao. He waved his hand coldly and said, "You can leave. Your cultivation isn't high enough." In this world, some people had special abilities to see through others' cultivation. Chapter 3567. Although there were many limitations to the ability to see through others' cultivation, Ling Xiao's cultivation was lower than this old man's. Naturally, he was easily seen through. That kid is really funny. His cultivation is not high enough, yet he still wants to go over. What a waste of time. That's right. Don't waste any more time. Barbarian Xiong, hurry up and chase that kid away. Someone urged the muscular man behind Ling Xiao. This muscular man, Barbarian Xiong, was usually very arrogant due to his powerful strength. He didn't even put others in his eyes. Everyone found it strange that he was suddenly so obedient today. "All of you, shut up. This young hero might only be at the 2nd level of the divine vein realm, but he is strong enough. Old man, count him in. You won't regret it." Barbarian Xiong roared at the old man. "You don't have the final say in this matter." The old man was still very insistent. "Uncle Zhou, count him in." The young lady in the room suddenly opened her mouth and said, "Barbarian Xiong is famous for his ferocity in our 10,000 Flames capital city. Although he is only at the 3rd level of the divine vein realm, his combat prowess wouldn't lose to a 4th level divine vein realm martial artist. Since he is recommending this young man, it means that this young man is outstanding. What's wrong with counting him in? Since young lady said so, this old servant will listen to you." Uncle Zhou glanced at Ling Xiao and said, "You 2 are the last 2. The rest can leave. This is not fair. You clearly said that only martial artists at the 3rd level of the divine vein realm and above are allowed to join." "That's right. What right does he have to say that his combat prowess is higher than a 3rd level divine vein realm martial artist? Surpassing levels to fight? Does he really think that he is a genius?" Uncle Zhou's decision made the faces of the people in the queue turn ugly. They obviously felt that they were at a disadvantage. "I hope that the few of you can reconsider. Let a 2nd level divine vein realm martial artist join this group. Not only will he not be of any help, but he will also become a burden. Young lady, you don't want this to happen, right?" At this moment, even the martial artists who had passed the test were unhappy. No one wanted their companions to be weak. Barbarian Xiong said that Ling Xiao was qualified, but that could also be because Barbarian Xiong wanted to bring his little companion to the Purple Spirit capital city. He couldn't take it seriously at all. "Please reconsider," the other 12 said at the same time. When Uncle Zhou heard this, he looked at the young girl and said, "Miss, I think we should forget about it. Not only would the addition of this person be of no use, but it would also cause the team to be disunited. It's very disadvantageous for us. At the end of the day, you guys just feel that I'm not qualified and that I'm not as strong as you, right? All right, I'll give you a chance now. Whoever wants to join the team can come and challenge me. If you beat me, you can take my place." Ling Xiao smiled as he looked at the opposing cultivators. "However, I have to say the ugly words first. Although killing is not allowed in the city, killing is not allowed. However, it's still possible to cripple your cultivation or cut off your tongues." The reason why he made such a threat was naturally because he didn't want to cause too much trouble. If he showed mercy, everyone would probably want to come up and try. "Uncle Zhou, let's do this." The young man suddenly laughed. Maybe he thought it was fun. "All right then, everyone make way." Uncle Zhou instructed. Everyone made way. Ling Xiao walked to the center of the empty space and looked around. "All right, who wants to challenge me? If there's no one, I'm going to carry out my mission. I'll do it." The one who spoke was a martial artist in the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. As he came late, he was at the back of the queue. However, he was only behind Barbarian Xiong. He originally thought that he would be chosen, but who knew that Ling Xiao, a martial artist in the 2nd level of the Divine Vein Realm, would be chosen? He was very unhappy. "Come." Ling Xiao didn't waste any time and beckoned to the other party. "Lose for me." That person was very unhappy when he saw Ling Xiao's arrogant face. He stomped on the ground and suddenly pounced on Ling Xiao. The steel saber in his hand flickered with resplendent light. Murderous aura surged. "Haha, that brat doesn't even dare to move. He's courting death. How can a martial artist in the 2nd level of the Divine Vein Realm defeat a martial artist in the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm? What a joke!" Everyone was waiting to see Ling Xiao make a fool of himself. Barbarian Xiong was the only one who looked nervous. He had seen Ling Xiao's ability before. Even though he only used his soul force, he was so scared that he didn't dare to speak. Crack! Ah! The sound of bones breaking was followed by a miserable scream. The crowd didn't even see clearly what had happened. The arm of the martial artist at the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm had already fallen to the ground. What is going on? Everyone was dumbfounded. Ling Xiao did not use any weapons, nor did he use any martial skills. Other than the young girl, no one saw his movements clearly. In the end, his opponent's arm was broken. This was too terrifying. Clap! Clap! The sound of clapping could be heard. The young man said excitedly, "What a powerful brother. With such strength, he is qualified to be our guard. He is probably stronger than a martial artist in the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. What a fast technique. That hand saber was as sharp as a blade." The young girl was also shocked. She felt that Ling Xiao might be able to reach the level of a martial artist in the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. However, she didn't expect him to be so powerful. That move was simply too terrifying. It was so fast that she almost couldn't see it clearly. "Are you satisfied now?" Ling Xiao sneered. After witnessing Ling Xiao's strength, no one dared to go up. "All right, it will be you." The young girl spoke. At this moment, the martial artists who joined the team didn't dare to underestimate Ling Xiao anymore. They basically did not see clearly how Ling Xiao had done it just now. They thought that even if they made a move, they wouldn't be able to block that terrifying attack. At this moment, they looked at Ling Xiao with fear and reverence. "Ha ha ha! I already said that this brother is stronger than me. You didn't believe me and lost an arm for nothing. Idiots." Barbarian Xiong laughed loudly. "Yeah, Barbarian Xiong is right. This young man's aura is too terrifying. It doesn't match his cultivation at all. I'm afraid that he is stronger than Barbarian Xiong." The young girl nodded secretly and agreed with Barbarian Xiong's words. However, she probably didn't expect that if Ling Xiao went all out, even she wouldn't be a match for him. "Uncle Zhou, Please clean up the bloodstains. Give the injured one 100 high-grade spirit stones and let him go." The young girl said indifferently, "This old servant obeys." Uncle Zhou nodded and quickly went to do it. The young girl walked towards Ling Shao and said, "You can call me Miss Shangguan. That is my younger brother, Shangguan Yu. He is a martial artist like you and uses a sword." Ling Zhao's performance attracted the young girl's attention. Naturally, she became more talkative. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so concerned about a martial artist in the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. Chapter 3568. Hee brother, if I'm bored along the way, we can spar. Anyway, with our speed, we'll need at least 10 days to reach the Purple Spirit Capital. Shangguan Yu was also curious about Ling Shao. "We'll talk about it when we get there." Ling Shao said casually. Actually, it was not a bad idea to spar. After all, he could test his fighting skills. However, what Ling Shao liked more was to fight and kill. It was more effective that way. "All right, little you, we should go back and prepare. Everyone, gather at the east side of the city when the sun rises tomorrow. We'll only wait for half an hour. If we can't, we'll change people." Miss Shangguan smiled and left with Uncle Zhou and Shangguan Yu. However, the middle-aged man stayed behind and said coldly, "Let me remind all of you, you'd better behave yourselves along the way. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." After speaking, he left. It seemed that Zhou Tong felt that there was no point in hiring cultivators. Therefore, he did not have a good impression of these cultivators. "Hee brother, I'll treat you today. Let's go and have a meal." Barbarian Xiong was a little rough and overbearing, just like those demonic beasts. However, once he trusted someone, he would be obedient. After everyone left, Barbarian Xiong said to Ling Shao, "Sure." Ling Shao thought for a while and nodded. He did not know anyone in the 10,000 Flames capital city. Since Barbarian Xiong was kind enough to treat him to a meal, why should he not agree? He might even be able to find out something from Barbarian Xiong. "How should I address you, brother?" Barbarian Xiong asked excitedly. "Ling Shao." Ling Shao said indifferently. This name was very unfamiliar in the 4 major regions. Therefore, there was no problem in saying it out loud. "All right, brother Ling. I'll follow you in the future." Barbarian Xiong really knew how to curry favor with people. "It's not a problem to follow me. However, I'm very strict with my underlings. If you dare to betray me or plan to harm me, I'll kill you. I'll definitely kill you before I'm harmed." Ling Shao sneered. "Big brother, don't worry. Even though I, Barbarian Xiong, am a person who is a bit bloodthirsty and rude, but I'm a person who values loyalty the most." Barbarian Bear patted his chest and said, "Since that's the case, let's go. I wonder if there's anything good in the Myriad Flames main city." Ling Shao smiled. "Big brother, I know a place. The delicacies there are all made by spirit chefs. It was of great help to martial artists, but it was a little more expensive. However, since I'm treating you to a meal, Barbarian Bear is willing to do so." Man Xiong said. As the two of them spoke, they had already walked out of the quest hall. "Spirit chef? What's that?" Spirit chefs are as great as alchemists, puppeteers, and spirit augmentators. Basically, every large family hoped to have a spirit chef in their family. The delicacies cooked by these people could be said to be superb. Not only was it delicious, but it was also very effective. The food made by a good spirit chef can even allow one's cultivation to break through. Barbarian Bear said excitedly. As soon as the two of them left, a few people came out from the corner of the quest hall. "It's that kid. Brothers, you have to take revenge for me." The one who spoke was the martial artist whose arm was chopped off by Ling Shao. The few people beside him had actually reached the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. Their strength was extraordinary. But Barbarian Bear is by his side. It's not easy. One of them said Barbarian Bear's cultivation might be on par with us, but that guy is a true savage beast. After transforming, his combat strength would increase by 10 times. Even a 4th level divine vein realm martial artist might not be his match. It's fine. Aren't they going to the delicious house? The spirit chef, there is a sworn brother of mine. Barbarian Bear loves to drink. We just have to think of a way to get him drunk. The one-armed martial artist said. That's enough. Let's start. Hearing this, everyone immediately nodded. With the help of a spirit chef, it was naturally not a problem. Delicious house? Ling Xiao looked at the small store in front of him. The scale wasn't big, but there were many customers. Moreover, this small store had quite a lot of rules. Each person could only order one serving of each dish. Moreover, each dish had requirements for the martial artist's cultivation. If one couldn't meet the requirements, they couldn't be more precise. Why suffer? There are so many rules. Might as well find a random restaurant. Ling Xiao hated this kind of place that made a bunch of rules. He kept feeling that he wasn't free to eat, and it was very uncomfortable. After all, there's a spirit chef in charge here. It's normal to have more rules. Big brother, don't worry. I guarantee that you'll be absolutely satisfied with the food here. Barbarian Bear still recommended. All right, since you're so eager to recommend, I'll go and try. The two of them walked into the store. Fortunately, there was an empty seat. Barbarian Bear hurriedly walked over and took it. At this time, a delicate-looking young man walked out of the kitchen. His expressionless face was as if someone owed him money. What do you two want? The young man asked indifferently. There was no enthusiasm of entertaining guests at all. It was as if he was saying, eat if you like and get lost if you don't. He really didn't know how this kind of store could have so many customers. 2 servings of super egg fried rice. Remember, the egg must be from a 1-star 3rd level divine vein realm demonic beast. As for the rice, it must be the shrimps grown on the edge of the storm ocean. The nutritional value of that thing is no less than a divine vein pill. Barbarian Bear said excitedly, You can, but he can't. The young man glanced at Barbarian Bear and then at Ling Xiao and said, His cultivation is not enough, so there's no need to talk about it. Let's just choose the ordinary egg fried rice. It's also helpful for a 2nd level divine vein realm martial artist. Big brother, what do you think? Barbarian Bear was a little helpless. It doesn't matter. I'll take the ordinary egg fried rice. How much is it? Ling Xiao asked. Super egg fried rice for 1,000 upper grade spirit stones per serving. Ordinary egg fried rice, 2,000 upper grade spirit stones per serving. The young man pointed at the small blackboard in the store and said, It's all written on it. Are you robbing me? Even a divine vein pill isn't worth 4,000 upper grade spirit stones. Are you sure your super egg fried rice has the effect of a divine vein pill? Ling Xiao said with a frown. He had never eaten such an expensive egg fried rice before. You can't afford it? Then please leave. The young man had a smug look on his face that deserved a beating. Big brother, don't say any more. It's not that easy to get a divine vein pill. I'll pay for it. Big brother, don't worry. Although it's expensive, I only come here once a month. However, I'm going to the Purple Spirit Capital this time. I'm afraid I won't be back for a long time. Let's just eat one more time. Go! 1 super egg fried rice and 1 ordinary egg fried rice. Barbarian Bear stopped Ling Xiao and said with a smile. Ling Xiao sighed. It didn't matter. Since it was Barbarian Bear's treat, he would just eat. He wanted to see if such an expensive egg fried rice was worth its price. The young man went to cook. Barbarian Bear started to chat with Ling Xiao. Chapter 3569. Big brother, the reason why I joined this escort mission is because I want to safely arrive at the Purple Spirit Capital. I want to join the Purple Palace Army. Even if I have to die in battle, it's better than living a life of mediocrity. Our wild beast race's martial artists all have warlike blood flowing in our bodies. I was kidnapped and sold here when I was young, and I really want to go back and have a look. But without strength, I can't use the teleportation formation in the capital. Therefore, joining the Purple Palace Army is my only way out. I might even be a genius in martial arts. You are indeed a genius, although you are still far from those top geniuses. But with your talent, breaking through to the divine core realm shouldn't be a problem for you. Ling Xiao had checked Barbarian Xiong's talent, and he knew that this savage beast clan's talent was perfect for cultivating martial arts. He wondered if every savage beast clan's talent was the same. Anyway, Barbarian Xiong's talent was above average. If he worked harder, he might be able to break through to the divine core realm. Thanks for Big Brother's words. I'll take it seriously, haha. Barbarian Xiong laughed. He didn't take Ling Xiao's words seriously. He just thought that Ling Xiao was making fun of him. I'm serious, you'll know in the future. Cultivate well, don't waste your potential. Ling Xiao said in a serious manner. I know, Big Brother, are you going to join the Purple Palace Army as well? Barbarian Xiong asked. That's right. But I'm different from you. My cultivation hasn't reached the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. I'm afraid I can't join. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Big Brother, you're worrying too much. The Purple Palace Army recruits based on their strength, not their cultivation. If not, those spirit augmenters, puppet masters, and alchemists won't be able to join. After all, a man's energy is limited, and it's hard for him to take care of everything. Big Brother, you're stronger than me. I'm sure you can join. Barbarian Xiong said. I see, I understand now. Ling Xiao was worried that his cultivation wasn't strong enough, but now he didn't need to worry. With his strength, he could easily defeat a 3rd-level Divine Vein Warrior. Therefore, joining the Purple Palace Army should be easy as well. While both men were chatting, the young man walked over. He placed 2 plates of egg-fried rice on the table. He even gave her a bottle of wine. Barbarian Xiong, you can be considered a regular customer of my store. Take this jug of wine as a farewell gift for you. It's free, but he can't drink it, the young man said. Thank you, thank you. The barbarian bear loved wine. Moreover, the wine in the pot was the best wine in the store. Although he felt a little sorry for Ling Xiao, he still wanted to stay and taste it. Otherwise, it would be too wasteful. Barbarian Xiong, let me take a look at this wine. Ling Xiao suddenly said. A stingy person who adhered to the rules to the extreme had suddenly gifted wine to others. Why did it feel like there was something wrong? Oh, Barbarian Xiong nodded and passed the wine jug over. Ling Xiao brought the jug of wine to his nose and sniffed it. His brows suddenly furrowed. What's wrong, Big Brother? Is there a problem? Barbarian Xiong's expression changed. Like I said, I don't usually see this guy being so kind. Now you're giving me wine. He stood up and was about to flip out. Sit down. The wine is fine. Drink up. Ling Xiao smiled. No problem. Barbarian Xiong was stunned for a moment and said, But Big Brother, your expression just now was not right. There's nothing wrong. I'm just curious about the ingredients in this wine that make it so fragrant. Ling Xiao laughed. Haha, so that's how it is. Barbarian Xiong did not doubt it. He ate the egg-fried rice while drinking the wine. Ling Xiao also ate a mouthful of egg-fried rice. Although this rice was not worth 2,000 high-grade spirit stones, the taste was indeed not bad. Moreover, after eating it, he did feel that the potential in his body had increased by a lot. This meant that this spirit chef still had some ability. It was just that his heart was a bit too black. It was already good enough that this thing cost 100 high-grade spirit stones. After all, the egg-fried rice sold outside could be bought with a mid-grade spirit stone. The ingredients were also demon beast eggs and special rice. It was just that there was no spirit chef to cook it. It didn't take long to finish a serving of egg-fried rice. However, Barbarian Xiong fell asleep on the table. Time to close, time to close. The spirit chef, who was also the owner of the small store, directly came out and shouted. Some people who had not finished their meal could only pack it up and take it away, not daring to offend the spirit chef. It seemed that this spirit chef had a deep background. Otherwise, there was an expert protecting him. Otherwise, a spirit chef at the 1st level of the Divine Vein Realm was so annoying. He would probably have been killed long ago. Just as the customers in the store had almost left, Ling Xiao saw a few figures walking in from outside. He recognized one of them. It was the martial artist whose arm was broken by him. What? You're still not satisfied with a broken arm? Are you planning to leave your life behind? Ling Xiao mocked. And this spirit chef, I don't care if you sell things at a high price. I'm also not interested in caring if you cheat people. If your attitude is bad, that's your freedom. But if you put drugs in the wine, that's your fault. Do you really think that no one can deal with you because you're very powerful? When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but be shocked. Obviously, Ling Xiao had seen through their conspiracy, but he did not choose to leave because of this conspiracy. Instead, he waited for them here. What did this mean? It meant that this kid had the confidence. Don't be afraid. No matter how powerful he is, he only has the combat strength of the 4th level of the Divine Vein Realm, the one-armed martial artist shouted. That's right. Kill. Everyone no longer had any doubts and rushed towards Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao had no intention of making a move at all. He just watched with a smile. Suddenly, Barbarian Bear, who was lying on the table, stood up. He transformed into the appearance of a human bear. With a slap of his paw, 2 of the martial artists were directly slapped to death. You dare to scheme against me? You guys are really tired of living. It was true that Barbarian Bear was bloodthirsty. Once this guy fought, he was simply as terrifying as a demonic beast. A 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm martial artist was simply a pitiful prey in front of him. In the blink of an eye, only the one-armed martial artist was left. Big brother, should I leave this guy to you? Barbarian Bear asked. No need. I'm not interested in killing this kind of trash. Kill him. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Spare me. Spare me. We were just muddle-headed for a moment. We won't dare to do it again. Only now did the one-armed martial artist feel terrified. Muddle-headed for a moment? I told you at that time to learn to be obedient and not throw away your life. You just didn't listen. Barbarian Bear, don't talk nonsense with him. Directly make a move. Ling Xiao said coldly. Yes. As he spoke, Barbarian Bear directly smashed that guy's head with his paw. Next, it's your turn. Ling Xiao looked at that spirit chef and said, Everyone has to be responsible for what they have done. You guys can't kill me. If you kill me, the city lord won't let you guys off. The spirit chef retreated while speaking in terror. At this moment, he completely didn't have that smug attitude from before. Chapter 3570. City Lord, haha, I'm so scared. So he's your backer. No wonder he's so arrogant. Don't worry, I won't kill you, but you have to leave with us. The journey to the Purple Spirit Capital City is very boring. If I can eat your food every day, I think it'll be great. Ling Xiao sneered and put the spirit chef into the beast ring. Then he walked out of the delicious house with Barbarian Xiong. We can't stay in the city today. Let's wait outside. Ling Xiao said to Barbarian Xiong. Okay. Barbarian Xiong nodded. Then he left with Ling Xiao. About 10 minutes after they left, the entire delicious house was ablaze. On this day, the 10,000 Flames capital city was very lively. The delicious house was on fire, and there were several corpses. This made the city lord of the 10,000 Flames capital city furious. The Purple Mansion army also cooperated with the investigation, but after a day and night, they didn't find anything. The next morning, the sky was just turning white. Ling Xiao and Barbarian Xiong had already appeared outside the eastern city. After a while, a puppet carriage also arrived outside the city. Other than that, there were 16 blazing flame puppet beasts. These blazing flame puppet beasts were based on the blazing flame beasts. All of them had the combat strength of a 1-star divine vein realm cultivator. But looking at the pedals, it was obvious that they were mounts. As for the puppet carriage, it looked like a rhinoceros, but it was bigger. There were a few windows and doors on the rhinoceros's body to let people in and out. There were beds, tables, and chairs inside. It felt like a small bar, but the puppet carriage didn't have any combat strength. Only its defense was amazing. It was like a fortress. The two of you are early. Miss Shangguan walked out of the puppet carriage and said with a smile, "Since we accepted the mission, we have to be more proactive." Ling Xiao smiled. If not for yesterday's incident, they wouldn't have come so early. He noticed that Shangguan Yu, Uncle Zhou, and a young man were sitting in the puppet carriage. He was about 20 years old, and his eyes were shining with a cold light. His strength was probably on par with Miss Shangguan. They were both at the 5th level of the Divine Vein Realm. He didn't know his identity. However, none of this had anything to do with Ling Xiao. There was no need for them to protect such an expert. As for the Zhou Tong from yesterday, he rode on a blazing fire puppet beast. He looked at Ling Xiao with disdain. Even though Ling Xiao had defeated a martial artist at the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm yesterday, in his opinion, it was just a coincidence. He didn't trust Ling Xiao at all. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Fortunately, the rest of the people arrived one after another. "Little sister Mingyu, there's no need to hire these guards and waste your money. With me around, who can hurt you?" The young man walked out of the puppet carriage and looked at the crowd with disdain. He especially despised Ling Xiao. "There is actually a piece of trash at the 2nd level of the Divine Vein Realm. Uncle Zhou, how did you choose your disciples?" The young man was somewhat displeased. "That's my choice. If you're unhappy, you can go back," Shangguan Mingyu said coldly. It seemed that she did not like this young man. "Big sister, Big Brother Feng is the young city lord. It's our fortune that he can personally escort us." Shangguan Yu's small head popped out of the window. "Young city lord? This guy should be called Qin Feng." Barbarian Xiong lowered his voice and said to Ling Xiao, "His cultivation has reached the 5th level of the Divine Vein Realm. He's not to be trifled with." "Understood." Ling Xiao nodded. He had no interest in provoking such a person. Of course, the premise was that the other party didn't find trouble with him. Otherwise, he wasn't someone to be trifled with. "Humph, everyone listen up. These 15 blazing fire puppet beasts are your mounts. In order to reach the Purple Spirit Capital as soon as possible, I'll give them to you temporarily. If the mission can be completed successfully, they will belong to you forever. Each of these blazing fire puppet beasts is worth thousands of high-grade spirit stones. You must cherish them," Shangguan Mingyu said sternly. "Our Shangguan clan will never treat those who have helped us unfairly. But if someone has evil intentions, don't blame us for being impolite. Your mission is very simple. It is to escort me and my brother safely to the Purple Spirit Capital. As for the rest, you can ignore them." After speaking, she entered the puppet carriage. Chun Feng sneered and walked in as well. The puppet carriage was in the middle of the group. There were a total of 16 blazing fire puppet beasts, 8 at the front and 8 at the back, protecting the puppet carriage tightly. "Big brother, where did this woman come from? She's so rich. She gave away 1,000 high-grade spirit stones, puppet beasts just like that?" Barbarian Xiong moved to Ling Zhao's side and asked in a low voice. "I'm not sure, but her identity is definitely not ordinary. Barbarian Xiong, listen up. This mission might be dangerous. It might not even be something we can deal with. If we really can't, escaping is more important." Ling Xiao lowered his voice and said, "This group of people didn't tell us the danger level of the mission. If it exceeds that level, it'll be considered as them breaching the contract first. We don't have to die with them." "Got it, big brother." Barbarian Xiong trusted Ling Xiao very much now. In the puppet carriage, Qin Feng, who was sitting by the window, sneered. Looking at the guards who were talking and laughing, he thought to himself, "You guys can be happy for now, but soon your lives will be gone." Suddenly, he felt a pair of eyes staring at him. His heart couldn't help but tremble. When he turned his head to look, he realized that it was that trash at the 2nd level of the Divine Vein Realm. Then he shook his head and thought to himself, "I'm really too careful. A mere trash at the 2nd level of the Divine Vein Realm can make me so nervous." The speed of the group was very fast. The puppet beasts and the puppet carriage consumed spirit stones, and the leader of this group obviously didn't lack spirit stones. Therefore, they could travel without tiring. When this group disappeared on the main road, another group walked out from the thicket. These people were all wearing the same black armor that covered their entire body. General Chen, are we really going to make a move? That's the famous Shangguan Trading Company in the Purple Spirit capital city. Once we're discovered, we won't be able to bear the consequences. One of them said to the person beside him, "Haha, you dare to disobey the orders of the city lord?" General Chen sneered and said, "No need to worry. This matter, we must do it without anyone noticing. Absolutely no one will notice. Moreover, with the young city lord as a spy, are you still afraid of not succeeding? Are we going to do it ourselves?" The person beside him asked again. "Unless it's a last resort, we naturally won't do it ourselves. Let's go to the Black Desert City. That's the best place to make a move. The Black Desert Army, there is a rebel army and has always liked to plunder caravans. If we tell them that the Shangguan Trading Company passed by there, what do you think will happen?" General Chen sneered and said, "Brilliant. Let the Black Desert Army take action and finish off those people. After that, we'll take the opportunity to finish off the Black Desert Army. This way, not only will there be no mistakes, but there will also be merits." Chapter 3571. That's right, that's what the mayor meant. The Black Desert City is a place they have to pass through. They're no rebels and they don't like money. General Chin sneered, "But can the Black Desert Army deal with those people?" Someone beside him asked worriedly. "It shouldn't be a problem. Among those people, Shangguan Mingyu and her brother are the strongest. One is a 5th-level Divine Vein Warrior, while the other is a 4th-level Divine Vein Warrior. The rest are only 3rd-level Divine Vein Warriors. I'm more worried about where they hid the treasure. What if those idiots from the Black Desert Army destroyed it?" General Chin furrowed his brows and said, "Hee, it must be in that woman's storage ring. Speaking of which, this Shangguan Trading Company really doesn't put our Myriad Flames capital city in their eyes. How dare they come here and fight for that treasure? In the end, they're just doing us a favor. What good will come of offending the mayor?" Someone beside him laughed. "That's right, but no one expected that there would be a treasure of that level in the Myriad Flames capital city. The Violet Sun Pill is worth at least 100,000 upper rank soul stones. Only the Shangguan Trading Company can afford it. Even our mayor doesn't have the funds to do so." General Chin said coldly, "The Violet Sun Pill is a divine pill, a natural treasure born from the natural purple energies. If taken directly, it can help a 9th-level Divine Vein Warrior break through to the Divine Core Realm. Basically, it can increase the success rate by 50%. This item is extremely rare, even in the entire Purple Kingdom. If there's a powerful alchemist who can refine and improve this Violet Sun Pill, then its efficacy will be increased by at least 40%. It can increase the success rate to 100%. TSK, at that time it will be even more expensive. I don't think even 1 million upper rank soul stones can buy it. If our mayor can get his hands on this Violet Sun Pill, he will break through to the Divine Core Realm in no time. In the future, we can also benefit from it." General Chin sneered and said, "Let's go, we'll take a shortcut. We have to reach the Black Desert City before them." Yes, everyone accepted the order and started speeding up. In comparison, the escort team was much slower. After all, the puppet chariot wasn't that fast. Soon, they overtook the escort team and started heading toward the Black Desert City, just as they expected. On the way from the 10,000 Flames capital city to the Purple Spirit capital city, they had encountered many troubles. Due to the strength of this team, many small groups of bandits did not dare to invade. However, there were still quite a number of bandits along the way. However, their general strength was not that great. These people never talked as much as they did in books. Without saying a word, he would immediately make a move. It was either a volley of arrows or a heavy ambush. However, these were all discovered by Ling Xiao in advance, so the threat to the team was almost zero. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. As Ling Xiao fought, he continued to familiarize himself with the martial skills he had mastered, especially the 9 Supreme sword technique and the 9 Revolutions Fiend God technique. To him, both of these techniques could reach the level of an emperor-level martial skill. Naturally, he had to cultivate diligently. Moreover, the advantage of the 9 sovereign sword arts was that they could freely adjust their attack power from mid-king level to emperor-level martial skills. This was practically tailor-made for him. In battle, he mostly used the 9 sovereigns, sword technique, and ice age. After all, there were very few martial artists who had emperor-level martial skills at this stage. A peak king-level martial skill was already considered top-notch. With the Ice Emperor sword technique and the 9 Supreme sword technique, Ling Xiao could easily unleash the combat power of true energy realm level 3 and above even if he did not transform. Of course, he had been suppressing his opponents. He did not want to expose himself too early. After 3 days of training, he finally mastered the 7 swords in one of the 9 Supreme sword techniques. Although the level of this move was no different from the 6 swords in one, its power was increased by 5 times. In addition, he had also mastered the first move of the 9 Revolutions Fiend God technique, Descent of the Fiend God. To reach the transcendent state, he had to undergo a truly challenging battle, at least not yet. Therefore, he began to comprehend the second move of the 9 Revolutions Fiend God technique. First appearance of Divine Light, Demonic Shadow Attack. The 9 Revolutions Fiend God technique had a total of 6 moves. The first move, Descent of the Fiend God, was the starting move, and he would use it for every subsequent move. Moreover, the power of the moves would also increase. With his current cultivation level, he could instantly kill a Divine Pulse Realm level 5 expert with just a single move. This was the advantage of an Emperor class martial technique. The first appearance of Divine Light, Demonic Shadow Attack, was twice as powerful as the Descent of the Fiend God. Its power would be even more terrifying. Barbarian Bear was just as he had said. Once he recognized his boss, he would be very loyal. When Ling Xiao was comprehending the martial technique, he would stand guard at the side. To him, the mission had become secondary. Another day passed. Ling Xiao had already comprehended the essence of the second move. After successfully comprehending it, he directly reached the lesser mastery level. However, if he wanted to increase the power of this move, he would have to do it in actual combat. Otherwise, it would be meaningless. Therefore, he stopped comprehending and looked into the distance, waiting for the enemy to attack so that he could test out this move. Everyone, stop and form a defense. For 3 consecutive days, Ling Xiao was the first to discover the enemy and make effective predictions. At first, everyone was not used to him giving orders. But now, everyone was basically following his instructions. A person's prestige wasn't something that could be said with words. It was something that was reflected in one's ability. In the sky, a majestic eagle was soaring. That was the puppet eagle that Ling Xiao released. It could directly transmit everything it saw to his Tai Chi eye. This greatly made up for the distance disadvantage of his Tai Chi eye. There are quite a lot of people coming. They should be bandits. There are a total of 50 of them. Most of them are below the Divine Pulse Realm Level 3. Don't worry too much. Ling Xiao observed as he spoke. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Although this was a main road, it was extremely desolate on both sides. From time to time, the roars of demonic beasts could be heard. It made people feel extremely uneasy. Moreover, there were many bandits who didn't fear death. They would be fearful if not for the strength of your team. Ling Xiao, don't go overboard. I'm the commander of this team. You have to listen to me. Zhou Tong was very unhappy. At first, these people would listen to whatever he said. But since 2 days ago, these people started to turn a deaf ear to his words. Instead, they were very serious about Ling Xiao's orders. Then please go ahead. Ling Xiao could not be bothered to argue with such people and smiled faintly. Continue on our way. Don't listen to that Ling Xiao's nonsense. Zhou Tong said loudly. He wanted to go against Ling Xiao because he was unhappy with Ling Xiao. Zhou Tong, you're just a servant of Miss Shangguan's family. What right do you have to order us? We're taking Miss Shangguan's money, not yours. Barbarian Xiong glared at Zhou Tong and said disdainfully. These few days he had confirmed that his big brother, Ling Xiao, was right. This Zhou Tong still insisted on going against them. He completely did not put their lives in his eyes. Chapter 3572. Barbarian Xiong, don't think that you can mess around just because you are strong. Believe it or not, I will drive you away now. Zhou Tong's face was very embarrassed as he roared sternly. Uncle Zhou, who made you angry? How about I help you vent your anger? At this time, Chen Feng got out of the puppet car, sat on the roof, and said with a smile, It's those two guys who have always been undisciplined. Zhou Tong pointed at Ling Xiao and Barbarian Xiong and said coldly, Okay, I will kill them for you. A cold light flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. These days he felt more and more that Ling Xiao would be a scourge and would affect their plan. So he had always wanted to find an excuse to kill Ling Xiao. Now he finally found a reason. As he spoke, his figure flashed, and he directly charged towards Ling Xiao. A long spear suddenly appeared in his hand. He was actually a warrior, and he felt that his spear solace already had the strength of Hotian's 6th stage. Stop! Just as Ling Xiao was about to fight with Chen Feng, Shangguan Mingyu's voice sounded. Chen Feng, they are all guards I hired. They killed countless enemies along the way. They helped us a lot, but you just sat in the puppet car and rested. What qualifications do you have to attack them? Shangguan Mingyu did not give Chen Feng any face. Bitch, wait and see. This young master will definitely make you cry under my body. Chen Feng was choked, and he was very unhappy in his heart. But in order to carry out the plan smoothly, he did not fly into a rage. Otherwise, with his strength alone, he really could not deal with so many people. Uncle Zhou, you too. Along the way, Ling Xiao's prediction has never been wrong. Why bother about who has the command? I will make a decision now and hand over the command to Ling Xiao. He will have full authority to deal with it. Shangguan Mingyu glanced at Zhou Tong. This person was really too disappointing. Originally, they were on the same side. She did not want to say anything. But Zhou Tong, this guy, actually knew that there was an ambush ahead and still insisted on rushing over. Wasn't this purely courting death? If he did not understand this logic, how could he command those 15 people? This subordinate obeys. Zhou Tong felt uncomfortable in his heart, but he did not dare to say it out loud. Instead, he poured all his hatred onto Ling Xiao. Brat, it's all your fault. Just you wait. As long as I have the chance, I will kill you. Zhou Tong secretly gritted his teeth. At this moment, a large number of bandits appeared in front of them. Mingyu, you said that I've been resting. Now I'll show you my strength. To put it bluntly, I'm just too lazy to deal with those little thieves. Do you really think I'm going to do nothing? He looked at the dozens of bandits in front of him. Chen Feng sneered. With a flick of his spear, he charged over alone. The strength of this group of people wasn't weak. There were more than a dozen of them who were at the 3rd level of the divine vein realm. The rest of them were either at the 1st or 2nd level of the divine vein realm. Surprisingly, there were no martial artists below the divine pulse realm. Chen Feng's battle prowess was not for show. With a sweep of his spear, he killed 6 or 7 bandits. Then, his spear moved like a dragon, and his figure flickered among the crowd. After a moment, the 50-plus bandits were actually all killed. They did not even have the chance to escape. After killing, Chen Feng walked back. Looking at Ling Xiao, he said, Brat, when offending people, best weigh your own weight. Right now, you're Mingyu's guard. I won't hurt you, but reaching Purple Spirit Capital City, your mission is completed. At that time, it'll be your death date. Also, you guys, Whoever dares to be with him, all have to die. This guy was already a completely undisguised threat, apart from barbarian Xiong. Although the other 13 people admired Ling Xiao, it was also impossible to offend Qin Feng for him. They all retreated to the sides, maintaining a distance from Ling Xiao and barbarian Xiong. Humph, that's good. This young master's temper isn't good. Furthermore, I hold grudges. Qin Feng snorted coldly and put away his spear. He gave Ling Xiao a cold glance and said, "See that? This is reality. Strength is everything. Young Master Qin Feng's strength is so formidable. Why don't you take on the following battles?" Ling Xiao said with a smile. "Bullshit. Let me take on all of them. Why do I need a bunch of good-for-nothings like you?" Qin Feng didn't expect Ling Xiao to not only not be afraid of his threat, he even dared to make fun of him. "If everyone else is good-for-nothings, then why are you still here? You're really thick-skinned. It seems that Miss Shangguan didn't ask you to escort her, right?" Ling Xiao was still as sharp-tongued as usual. He had long wanted to deal with this guy. Because of this guy, he didn't even dare to release the spiritual chef in the beast ring. This was because Qin Feng definitely knew that spiritual chef. Once released, the matter of 10,000 Flames capital city would be exposed. However, this place was already out of the territory of 10,000 Flames capital city and into the territory of Purple Spirit capital city. It didn't matter. "You're courting death." Qin Feng's expression became increasingly unsightly. "All right, the two of you, stop talking. It's giving me a headache. How about this? We've been rushing for a few days. Everyone must be tired. There's a river ahead. Let's rest by the river and eat something." Shangguan Mingyu had no choice but to be the peacemaker. The caravan arrived at the river. Originally, everyone was able to chat. However, because of Qin Feng's threat, the remaining 13 people could only gather together to have a picnic. Ling Xiao and Barbarian Bear found a place. They directly released the spiritual chef. "Tell us what ingredients you want. Immediately prepare a delicious meal for us. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you." Ling Xiao looked at the spiritual chef coldly and said, "Young city lord, save me." Suddenly, the spiritual chef shouted at the puppet carriage. Qin Feng couldn't help but be shocked when he heard the spiritual chef's voice. "Good lad. So it's you who burned down the delicious restaurant and captured the spiritual chef." The killing intent in his eyes became denser. "So what if it's us?" Ling Xiao said disdainfully, "Do you think this is still the territory of 10,000 Flames capital city, young city lord? It's not important whether this is the territory of 10,000 Flames capital city or not. What's important is that you dared to kidnap the spiritual chef under my father's protection. My father is furious. If I don't teach you a lesson today, how can I return with face?" Qin Feng said coldly. "Qin Feng, when we reach Purple Spirit capital city, you can do whatever you want. I won't stop you, but now they're my guards. I won't allow you to touch them. Moreover, I've also heard about the spiritual chef's skills. He's just a little too arrogant. When he went to the delicious restaurant to eat, he was actually refused the door. Now that I've asked him to cook, he shouldn't dare to refuse, right?" Shangguan Mingyu's words made Qin Feng calm down once again. He secretly told himself that he must endure. He couldn't ruin the plan because of a moment of impulse. When they reached the Black Desert City, everything would be clear. Not only did he have to kill Ling Xiao, but he also had to kill Shangguan Mingyu. And the treasure on Shangguan Mingyu's body, the Purple Sun Pill, would also belong to 10,000 Flames capital city. Thinking of this, he sighed and said, "Since Sister Mingyu said so, I'll agree." Chapter 3573. With Shangguan Mingyu's warning and the fact that Qin Feng didn't want to spoil the plan. Thus he endured it. Another 4 days passed. During this period of time, Ling Xiao and the others would deal with martial artists below the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. If they encountered experts, Shangguan Mingyu and Shangguan Yu would personally take action. It could be said that the 15 guards were here to clean up the small thieves. On the 8th day, they arrived at the periphery of a dirt city. After passing through this dirt city, we will soon reach the purple spirit capital. However, there is a Black Desert Army stationed in the Black Desert Dirt City. The Black Desert Army has 10 Wolf Kings, and each of them is very powerful. Thus, I remind you not to provoke the Black Desert Army. As long as you pay enough toll, the Black Desert Army won't casually attack. After passing through the Black Desert Dirt City, I will pay you half of the reward. When we reach the vicinity of the Purple Spirit Capital, we will pay the remaining half. Shangguan Mingyu looked at the dirt city in the distance, very seriously, and said a few words before returning to the puppet carriage to rest. The closer they got to the Black Desert Dirt City, the more experts they encountered. Shangguan Mingyu had fought several battles consecutively, but it was already very tiring. Thus, she needed to rest in time to replenish her energy. Just in case, Ling Xiao glanced at the Black Desert Dirt City, then turned the raging inferno puppet beast and headed towards the puppet carriage. Previously, his puppet eagle had noticed a team coming from the 10,000 Flames capital and took a shortcut to get in front of them. Originally, he didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this. He thought that they were on a special mission. However, this troop suddenly disappeared from the Black Desert Earthen City. That team wasn't weak. It was impossible for the Black Desert Army to eliminate them without leaving any traces. Thus, there was only one possibility left. That was this team came from the 10,000 Flames capital and wanted to seize some treasure. Moreover, they were preparing to join forces with the Black Desert Army, or even borrow the Black Desert Army's hands. Although all of this was just speculation, Ling Xiao felt that since he had accepted this mission, he had to take the money and eliminate the disaster. Since he had accepted the mission, he had to do his best. Even if he couldn't become enemies with the Black Desert Army, he could at least tell Shangguan Mingyu what he knew. It was already considered extremely benevolent. "What are you doing?" Zhou Tong stopped Ling Xiao and asked sternly. Ling Xiao ignored him and said to the puppet carriage, "Miss Shangguan, there are some things I have to tell you." However, there was no response even after a long time. He was about to speak again. Uncle Zhou came out and said, "There's no need to shout. If there's anything, just tell me. Miss and young master are asleep." Fell asleep? Ling Xiao froze for a moment. Shangguan Mingyu had just finished speaking, and she fell asleep so quickly? He felt that something was not quite right. But if someone else said that she was asleep, what else could he do? Therefore he sighed and said, "There's no harm in telling you. I suggest we take a detour and not go through the Black Desert City, because it could be a trap." After that, he told Uncle Zhou what he had observed. Unexpectedly, Uncle Zhou sneered and said, "Don't think too highly of yourself just because Miss thinks highly of you. Detour? Do you know that taking a detour will take away twice the distance? Who would be responsible for the delay? Furthermore, is it safe to take a detour? Moreover, the Black Desert Army and our Shangguan Trading Company still have some friendly relations. No need for you to worry. Just do your own things well will do." "Huh, am I meddling in other people's business?" Ling Xiao gave a cold laugh. He already said what he wanted to say. As for whether others would listen or not, that was not what he could resolve. Laughing coldly, he walked back once more. "Big brother, what happened?" Barbarian Bear asked. "There might be a fierce battle inside the Black Desert City. Don't charge forward foolishly. Let's walk to the side of the team. Once the situation changes, immediately escape." Ling Xiao already did what he should do. It could be considered as being extremely benevolent, others not listening. It was also impossible for him to throw his little life away. "Got it, big brother." Ling Xiao did not go and inform other people. He was not so kind-hearted. Those people ignored him because of Chen Feng's threat. Why did he need to be that holy mother? As long as he and Barbarian Bear survived, it was fine. Other things did not matter. The team finally still entered the Black Desert City. However, no one noticed the puppet eagle flying in the clouds. Ling Xiao paid attention to the surrounding movements all along. He did not want to lose his life for no reason. Furthermore, in order to be able to conveniently escape, he even memorized the situation of the Earth City through the puppet eagle. At that time, he would not need to panic and not choose a path. In the beginning, there was nothing wrong. Everything in the Earth City was exactly the same as in the city. It was just that the numbers were much fewer. The people on both sides of the street were all doing their own things, as if nothing had happened. However, Ling Xiao noticed through the taiji eye that these so-called ordinary people each released a faint killing intent. The people on the street all have problems. Don't catch them blind later. Kill if you can. Escape if you can. Follow me closely. Since he recognized Barbarian Bear as his little brother, Ling Xiao would not abandon him and not care about him. Furthermore, Barbarian Bear's combat power was not bad and could be of considerable help. After the team completely entered the Earth City, that thick and heavy door suddenly closed. A wave of wolf howls sounded out. The people on both sides of the street that were originally still doing their own things suddenly became ferocious and fiendish, transforming into the appearance of werewolves. It was rumored that the Black Desert Army all came from the savage beast region. All of them were of the werewolf race. Looking at it now, it really lived up to its reputation. No one noticed that Ling Xiao and Barbarian Bear already quietly hid. After all, everyone's attention was focused on those werewolves around them. A group of people also appeared at the same time in front. The two people in the lead felt that their strength was very terrifying. Zhou Tong's expression changed. It's the 10 Wolf Kings and 9 Wolf Kings. Why did they suddenly come? Could it be that they saw through our secret? Ling Xiao and Barbarian Bear were not in a hurry to leave. At this time, the battle had yet to begin. Leaving in a hurry would instead become the target of public criticism. But after seeing those 2 Wolf Kings, his fighting spirit involuntarily rose. Along the way, the experts that they encountered were all finished off by Shangguan Mingyu's siblings. His cultivation was unable to break through all along. But today he could give it a try. Barbarian Bear, you hide well later. If you see a chance to escape, leave by yourself first. I'll go and meet those 2 Wolf Kings. Ling Xiao said excitedly, Big brother, this is the nest of the Black Desert Army. I think all 10 Wolf Kings are here. If we get entangled by them, we won't be able to escape. Barbarian Bear said anxiously, Don't worry, I have a way to escape. For Ling Xiao, the Earth Elemental Golden Light skill was a godly escape skill. After all, there were very few people below the Divine Core Realm who could catch up with him. Ninth brother, let me take care of these idiots. The one who spoke was the 10th Wolf King. He was about 16 or 17 years old, the same age as Ling Xiao. Chapter 3574. The 10th Wolf King already had 4th level Divine Vein Realm cultivation without transforming. After transforming, he was probably close to 5th level Divine Vein Realm. He was definitely not easy to deal with. But the more it was so, the more Ling Xiao liked it. Facing the obstruction of the 9th and 10th Wolf Kings, Zhou Tong's expression was very ugly. The guards were also complaining incessantly. They participated in this escort mission and did not intend to be enemies with the Black Desert Army. But looking at this, the Black Desert Army did not seem to plan on letting them leave easily. Although this was not the Black Desert Army's lair, it was said that there were 3 permanent Wolf Kings. Now, 2 had already appeared. There was still one more. The weakest 10th Wolf King had 4th level Divine Vein Realm cultivation and 5th level Divine Vein Realm combat power. The 9th Wolf King was even stronger, and the other Wolf King that had yet to appear was probably even more terrifying. Ling Xiao, go over and ask what the situation is. Zhou Tong shouted, Ling Xiao. Only now did he notice that Ling Xiao and Barbarian Bear actually left silently. Bastard! Zhou Tong was furious in his heart, but there was nothing he could do. He did not even know when Ling Xiao and Barbarian Bear slipped away. He could only brace himself and go forward. 2 Wolf Kings. We're from the Shangguan Trading Company. All along, we've been paying the Black Desert Army toll. I wonder why you're stopping us today." The ninth Wolf King sneered and said, "I know you're from the Shangguan Trading Company. I also know that you've paid the toll. Your relationship with us is pretty good. That's why we didn't make a move immediately. Now I'll give you a chance. Take out that thing, and we can let you go immediately. Otherwise, with just the few of you, I'm afraid you'll die in the Black Desert Earthen City today. Please forgive me for being slow-witted. I wonder what the ninth Wolf King means." Zhou Tong was stunned for a moment. "Since you don't know, then why are you standing out?" Scram! The 10th Wolf King's temper was not good. He was young and impetuous. He directly slapped Zhou Tong, flying out with a claw. Zhou Tong fell to the ground, trembling in fright. He was already heavily injured. "Come out and speak. Otherwise, we won't have any patience. Kill without mercy." The 9th Wolf King sneered. At this time, Uncle Zhou came out of the puppet carriage. He cupped his hands and said, "This old man is the Shangguan Trading Company's housekeeper." He had never heard of any treasures. The 2 Wolf Kings must have been deceived by a scoundrel. "How about this? We're willing to pay 50,000 high-grade spirit stones for our safety. We hope that the 2 Wolf Kings will let us pass." "Ha ha ha, do you take us for fools? Do you think we'll believe whatever people say? Without evidence, how can we offend the Shangguan Trading Company, this god of wealth?" The 9th Wolf King laughed maniacally. "Did you guys get the Violet Sun pellet? Hurry up and hand it over. Otherwise, all of you will die here today." Zhou Tong really didn't know about the Violet Sun pill. However, Uncle Zhou was very clear in his heart. When he heard the 9th Wolf King's words, he knew that the news had been leaked. It was impossible to hide it. He hurriedly returned to the puppet carriage and used a special method to wake up Shangguan Mingyu and Shangguan Yu. When Shangguan Mingyu heard that the news of the Xiang pill had been leaked, his face changed greatly. Shangguan Yu was a child and was extremely anxious. 9th Wolf King, 10th Wolf King, my Shangguan Trading Company has always been on good terms with your Black Desert Army. But today, you stopped me from robbing. Aren't you afraid that the Shangguan Trading Company will settle the score in the future?" Shangguan Mingyu said coldly, "Ha ha ha ha. After killing you all, who can still spread the news here?" The 10th Wolf King said viciously, "Is that so? I'm afraid that you don't have that ability. Chun Feng, haven't you always wanted me to marry you? Today, as long as you help me kill one of the Wolf Kings, I'll marry you. The other one, I'll take care of it personally." Shangguan Mingyu, this woman, was really calm enough. At this point, she could still think of ways to inspire people, although the Black Desert Army's numbers were not few. Actually, the ones who truly posed a threat were also just the 10th Wolf King and the 9th Wolf King. The numbers on their side were not few either. They might not lose. The rest are responsible for stopping the Black Desert Army. I believe that you all should also be clear that encountering this kind of thing today, if you can't work together, you'll probably all die here. These people want to kill us. It's also impossible to let you all go. Otherwise, once the news leaks out, they're also afraid of the Shangguan Trading Company and Purple Spirit Capital City's revenge. Shangguan Mingyu said loudly. Therefore, everyone, this isn't just fighting for us, but also fighting for yourselves. But our Shangguan Trading Company won't treat you all unfairly. After the matter is done, each person will add another 5,000 high-grade spirit stones. If you all die in battle, my Shangguan Trading Company will be responsible for sending your ashes back to your hometown. Furthermore, we'll give your family 10,000 high-grade spirit stones as compensation. I believe that this money is enough for them to spend for a lifetime. Shangguan Mingyu continued, I swear here, if I violate the oath, I'll definitely die a horrible death. This woman really knew how to rally people's hearts. With her saying so, those guards who originally wanted to escape also steeled their hearts and stayed. Even if they died, they could also leave a huge fortune for their families. Furthermore, even if they escaped, they could not escape either. The black desert earthen city was already completely sealed off. With their strength, they could only be defeated one by one if they spread out. Don't worry, Miss Shangguan. We're not cowards like Ling Xiao and Barbarian Bear. We won't run away at the last minute. A person roared. The rest also echoed one after another. What? Ling Xiao and Barbarian Bear ran away? How did they escape? Shangguan Mingyu was immediately stunned. Younger sister Mingyu, why care about two cowards who ran away? With me around, there's naturally no problem. Qin Feng said with a smile, It seems that you don't intend to hand over the treasure today. Okay, kill them. The 9th Wolf King roared and finally gave the order to attack. The 10th Wolf King took the lead and pounced on Shangguan Mingyu. At this time, Qin Feng grabbed Shangguan Mingyu and Shangguan Yu and fled in the opposite direction. The enemy wants the purple sun pill. As long as the two of you escape, it'll be fine. Follow me and kill our way out. Shangguan Mingyu knew this black desert earthen city was an important stronghold of the Black Desert Army. If they fought here, even if they killed 2 Wolf Kings, they would probably be exhausted. Qin Feng was right. They should indeed choose to escape. It's just those guards. What a pity. Shangguan Mingyu sighed and said, What a pity. Since they accepted the mission, their lives are up to fate. Besides, they can also escape. I'm afraid that they can't escape. Qin Feng said disdainfully. At the same time, they had already arrived near the gate. The gate actually opened directly. This scene surprised Shangguan Mingyu, Shangguan Yu, and even the 2 Wolf Kings. They did not understand why. The opening mechanism of the gate was in a very hidden place. While everyone was confused, Uncle Zhou also carried Zhou Tong and fled outside. Everyone, don't fight foolishly. Hurry up and run. Someone among the guards shouted. Everyone lost their fighting spirit and fled in the direction of the gate. However, what made them despair was that, the moment Uncle Zhou and Zhou Tong escaped from the gate, those 2 bastards actually closed the gate from the outside. Chapter 3575. At this moment, the Black Desert Army had already surrounded all the guards. Kill them all. 10th brother, follow me to chase after those people. The 9th Wolf King opened the door again and chased out. Following the footprints, it was still possible to catch up. Big brother, didn't you say that you were going to fight with the 10th Wolf King? Barbarian Xiong asked curiously. Why did we sneak out too? The situation has changed. I reckon that someone in the Black Desert Army has already been bribed by the people of the 10,000 Flames main city. This bunch of bastards are really smart. All right, follow me to the front and wait for Qin Feng to reveal his foxtail. Then, we'll play the hero to save the beauty. Ling Xiao smiled. Hero to save the beauty? Big brother, are you interested in that girl Shangguan Mingyu? Barbarian Xiong asked. I'm not interested in her, but the purple sun pill. Ling Xiao had thought about it. Even if he didn't want the reward from the Shangguan Trading Company, he had to get the purple sun pill. Of course, if it was convenient, he could also save the Shangguan sisters. As the 2 were talking, suddenly there was a commotion in front of them. There were also curses. Qin Feng, you bastard, what are you going to do to my sister? The voice belonged to Shangguan Yu. Ling Xiao and Barbarian Xiong went over. At this moment, they saw that Shangguan Mingyu had been hit by some secret technique and was unable to move. As for Qin Feng, he was searching her body. Shangguan Yu was so angry that she stomped her feet, but there was nothing she could do. She was afraid that Qin Feng would harm Shangguan Mingyu. Do you really think that I like your sister? Idiot. What I want is the purple sun pill on her. Qin Feng sneered. The purple sun pill is not on my sister, but on me. As long as you let her go, I'll give it to you. Shangguan Yu suddenly said. Really? Qin Feng said coldly. Of course it's true. All right, then take it out for me to see. Qin Feng smiled and said, As long as it's true, I can let your sister go after I confirm it. Shangguan Yu was a child after all, and one could tell that she was a flower growing in a greenhouse. She basically had no experience. Hearing Chen Feng's words, he really had to take out the purple sun pills. It was a purple oval crystal in a crystal bottle. It continued to release powerful energy. "Give it to me, or I'll kill your sister," Chen Feng suddenly sneered. After confirming that the thing was real, he would not let Shangguan Mingyu go. You didn't keep your word." Shangguan Yu was on the verge of tears. "So what if I don't keep my word? If you want your sister to live, you'd better do as I say. Otherwise, I'll make you regret it." At this moment, Chen Feng's ugly face was completely exposed. "All right, don't hurt my sister. I'll hurt my sister. I'll give it to you, I'll give it to you," Shangguan Yu said anxiously when he saw Chen Feng pressing the tip of his spear against Shangguan Mingyu's throat. "Give it to me," Chen Feng sneered in his heart. This thing was really obtained without any effort. As long as he could obtain the violet sun pill, then he could shift the blame to the Black Desert Army. The Black Desert Army going to the Purple Spirit Capital was a great enemy. No one would believe each other's words. Their Myriad Flames main city could instead benefit from it. Just as he was fantasizing about a beautiful future and was about to take the violet sun pill from Shangguan Yu's hand, suddenly a golden light flashed. The thing in Shangguan Yu's hand disappeared. Chen Feng was stunned. Shangguan Yu was also stunned. The next moment, Chen Feng flew into a rage out of humiliation. He immediately chased after them. Shangguan Yu was not concerned about the violet sun pill. Instead, he went to check on his sister's condition. After confirming that his sister was fine, only frozen by the spirit talisman made by the Spirit Augmentation Master. After removing the spirit talisman, everything was fine. "Where's that bastard Chen Feng?" Shangguan Mingyu roared. He ran away to chase after the violet sun pill. Shangguan Yu lowered his head and said, "All right, let's not talk about the violet sun pill anymore. Although the violet sun pill is precious, it's more important for us siblings to survive. Let's escape first. After returning to the Shangguan Trading Company, we'll think of a way to deal with the Black Desert Army and the Myriad Flames main city." Losing the violet sun pill was a huge blow to them. It basically meant that this trip to the Myriad Flames main city was a complete failure. However, Shangguan Mingyu was still relatively calm and rational. Unfortunately, trouble came at this moment. Uncle Zhou and Zhou Tong actually lured the two Wolf Kings over. "I'm sorry, young miss, young master. We had no choice. If we didn't lead the way, they would have killed us. These two guys were too weak." After being captured by the two Wolf Kings, they actually took the initiative to say that they had a special way to find Shangguan Mingyu and Shangguan Yu. "You guys, you're really something." Even if Shangguan Mingyu was angry, there was nothing he could do now. He gritted his teeth and said, Are you afraid?" "Sister, I'm not afraid. At most, we'll die here together." Shangguan Yu gritted his teeth and said, "Perhaps we don't have to die. I'll deal with the 9th Wolf King. You hold back the 10th Wolf King and try to stall for time. Just don't let him interfere with my battle. After I kill the 9th Wolf King, I'll go and help." After saying that, Shangguan Mingyu had already charged out. Shangguan Yu was not careless either. Although he had little experience in the martial world, he still had a backbone. While they were fighting, on the other side, Ling Xiao had already stopped. He looked at Chen Feng opposite him with a faint smile. "It's actually you." Chen Feng had never expected that the one who snatched the violet sun pill from Shangguan Yu's hands was actually Ling Xiao. "That's right, it's me," Ling Xiao said with a smile. "Since you've snatched it, you should scram. Why are you still waiting for death here?" Chen Feng did not understand. "Aren't I giving you a chance? You said that you want to kill me. I'll give you this chance now." Ling Xiao was still smiling. Chen Feng, who was at the 5th level of the true energy realm, was definitely a great opportunity for him to temper himself. In terms of strength, unless he used the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, He would not be Chen Feng's opponent even if he transformed into the unbounded heavenly rat. However, there was an exception. So far, his Emperor-class martial technique still had the absolute advantage. It could instantly kill a 4th-level true energy realm martial artist. It also had an overwhelming attack power against a 5th-level true energy realm martial artist. Therefore, even if he did not use the Sky Tyrant martial soul, he could still defeat Qin Feng with his Emperor-class martial technique. More importantly, the Emperor-class martial technique could trigger the effect of the Heart of Gold. It would allow the energy in his sea of cultivation to increase faster. He needed to break through. Seems like you're really courting death. At this time, a few guards who had luckily escaped passed by and hurriedly lay down. It was quite strange. Just now, there was an internal strife in Black Desert City. Suddenly, a mysterious force entered Black Desert City and started a massacre. This gave them an opportunity to take advantage of. Out of 13 people, 6 survived. It was not a small number. That Ling Xiao must be sick in the head. Why is he fighting with young city Lord Qin Feng? Everyone was somewhat puzzled. Who knows? Hasn't Qin Feng always wanted to kill Ling Xiao? Now, the people of Shangguan Trading Company are nowhere to be found. No one is protecting Ling Xiao anymore. Chapter 3576. These two are not good people. They actually escaped first and almost got us killed. Why don't we wait and see if we can take advantage of them? Everyone discussed in secret and came up with an idea. Although they all thought that Qin Feng would win, but Ling Xiao might not be so weak. Otherwise, he would not go against Qin Feng. At this moment, there was a change in the battle situation. Ling Xiao's aura, which was originally weak, suddenly soared. A set of ferocious beast armor appeared on his body. It was incomparably cold. At the same time, a powerful aura also bloomed from his body. Ultimate heavenly rat beast soul transformation. Facing the powerful Qin Feng, Ling Xiao had no choice. From the beginning, he used his strongest form. You really want to fight with me? Qin Feng was stunned for a moment, only to see Ling Xiao suddenly attacking. That speed was simply like a ferocious beast. At that moment, Qin Feng had no time to defend. He had no choice but to block with his fists in front of him. The aura of the 5th level of the Divine Pulse Realm suddenly erupted, and at this moment, Ling Xiao's attack had already landed. It was a palm, but the palm wind was more like a sword light. It shocked Qin Feng so much that he had to retreat suddenly. This was because he could feel the terrifying sharpness of Ling Xiao's hand. But his speed was still too slow. Ling Xiao's hand hit his hand. At that moment, Qin Feng felt like something was torn apart. Then there was a piercing pain on his arm. His figure even retreated dozens of steps away. It was directly put into the dust. His arm was actually pierced through. Those guards who were lying in the dark watching the battle were a little stunned at this moment. No one expected that it would turn out like this at the beginning. Qin Feng actually suffered a hidden loss. His arm was pierced through by Ling Xiao's palm, and he was even sent flying? This Ling Xiao should only be at the 2nd level of the Divine Pulse Realm. How could he have such a terrifying attack power? They were a little stunned. They did not understand what had happened at all. At this moment, Qin Feng had already stood up from the ground. He looked at Ling Xiao angrily. Behind him, Chong Wuhuan exploded. As for Qin Feng, his eyes were filled with a thick, killing intent. Oh no, that Ling Xiao seems to have angered Qin Feng. He's in trouble now. Didn't he do well the first time? Even Qin Feng was injured. That was merely Qin Feng underestimating his opponent. Next, Qin Feng will definitely go all out. To Qin Feng, being injured by Ling Xiao was a great humiliation, regardless of whether he had underestimated his opponent or not. Along the way, he had found many opportunities to kill Ling Xiao. However, they were all stopped by Shangguan Mingyu. He thought that since Ling Xiao was alone this time, his chance had come. However, reality slapped him hard in the face. Ling Xiao didn't seem to be as easy to deal with as he had imagined. In the eyes of others, the first attack was because he had underestimated his opponent. However, he knew in his heart that Ling Xiao was not simple. Otherwise, even if he had underestimated his opponent wouldn't have been able to take advantage of him. With the long spear in hand, the spear energy erupted. The yellow sand was swept up, forming a strange yellow dragon. It coiled around the long spear, spewing out terrifying killing intent. Ling Xiao, good boy, I actually didn't realize that you were so powerful. That's because you're too arrogant, Ling Xiao said indifferently. He had no intention of chasing after him. He just wanted to anger Qin Feng. Otherwise, how could he have the chance to use an emperor-level martial skill? Arrogant? Qin Feng sneered and said, Don't think that you're a powerful person just because you've taken advantage of me through a sneak attack. In my eyes, you're still just a dead bug. Hee hee, you're still so stubborn even now. You're indeed powerful, but in front of me, you don't have much of an advantage. Ice Age appeared in Ling Xiao's hand. Then, the divine demon sword soul was released. Ice Age turned into black and white swords again. They were both emitting a terrifying cold aura. However, one sword obviously had a sacred feeling. The other sword was emitting a gloomy and terrifying feeling. Whether I'm stubborn or you don't know what's good for you, we'll know soon enough. Go to hell. The spear moved like a dragon. Qin Feng suddenly launched an attack, trying to turn the situation around. The terrifying spear martial soul bloomed with a sharp light. A shadow attacked Ling Xiao crazily. It's really a 6th-level martial soul, but it's a pity that it's too weak compared to me. Ling Xiao's advantage was not only the transformation of the infinite, heavenly rat beast soul. He also had a powerful innate sword soul. I'll let you have a taste of an emperor-level martial skill. The first move of the 9 transformation technique of Celestial Demon. Descent of the Celestial Demon. In the void, a vigorous shadow suddenly fell. This illusory figure had 2 faces. One face was extremely ferocious, emitting a terrifying killing intent and demonic aura. The other face was kind, emitting a majestic and sacred aura. The shadow instantly merged into the black and white swords. Ling Xiao went up to meet it. He was not afraid of Qin Feng's attack at all. You're courting death. How dare you fight back? My martial skill is at the peak of the king level. Qin Feng's confidence came not only from his cultivation, but also from the martial skill he used. The long spear in his hand kept shaking. The sand dragon roared and rushed toward Ling Xiao. The scene was extremely shocking. Unfortunately, he was facing Ling Xiao, and he was facing an emperor-grade martial skill. Boom! With a terrifying loud sound, Qin Feng was blasted dozens of meters away and fell heavily into the sand. This is the feeling. With Ling Xiao's current cultivation, using an emperor-level martial skill would consume more than half of his true essence. He could not attack continuously. However, he was already very happy when he felt the energy in his sea of cultivation increase. How can it be? Qin Feng looked at Ling Xiao in horror. Your martial skill is an emperor-level martial skill. It's too late for you to realize it now. Ling Xiao sneered. Didn't you want to kill me? Come again. Humph. With your cultivation, you can only use an emperor-level martial skill, once at most. You can't kill me. Qin Feng stood up from the ground. Although he was injured, it did not seem to be a big problem. A 5th-level divine vein expert was indeed powerful. If it was a 4th-level divine vein expert, he would have been killed instantly. However, the stronger Qin Feng was, the happier Ling Xiao was. He put away the Ice Age. I'll let you have a taste of an even more powerful move. Ice Supreme Sword, Fire Supreme Sword, Exquisite Sword, Snake Supreme Sword, 7-Star Sword, Soul Supreme Sword, Myriad Kingdom Sword, 7 swords in one. Kill. After waiting for a while, Ling Xiao's true essence had completely recovered. He sneered. He used a sword skill that was 5 times more powerful than descent of gods and demons. A terrifying aura rushed towards Qin Feng with unstoppable force. At that moment, Qin Feng's face was extremely ugly. He roared and circulated all the true essence in his body. He frantically unleashed his strongest attack. However, facing the power of 7 swords in one, Qin Feng was still sent flying like a kite with a broken string. This time, he felt that several bones were broken. Chapter 3577. Why? Why is it like this? Qin Feng could not believe what had just happened. The first time, he had underestimated his opponent. But now, even his treasure-grade Emperor artifact spear had been directly shattered by it. How terrifying was his opponent's attack. Stand up. You won't die so easily, right? Ling Xiao looked at Qin Feng with a smile. Emperor-level martial skills were tyrannical. Before encountering another martial artist who had the same level of martial skill, the martial skill of the Emperor level was very powerful. He had a huge advantage at this stage. Otherwise, with his current cultivation, he might not be Qin Feng's opponent. Qin Feng crawled up once again, but this time he did not choose to attack Ling Xiao. Instead, he suddenly turned and ran. Extreme Frost Domain. Blizzard Ice Ceiling Steps. Can you escape? Facing the heavily injured Qin Feng, Ling Xiao's advantage was very obvious. In an instant, he stood in front of Qin Feng. Don't kill me. I can do anything for you. You should know that having a subordinate like me is very important to you. My father is the city lord of the Myriad Flames capital city. Even if you can't survive in the Purple Spirit capital city, you can still do well in the Myriad Flames capital city. This cowardly Qin Feng actually knelt down in front of Ling Xiao and cried out. Bang! Ling Xiao kicked Qin Feng and said with a cold smile, Are you cursing me? Cursing me to not be able to join the Purple Mansion army? Or cursing me to be killed in the Purple Mansion army? No, you misunderstand. How would I dare? I don't know how to speak. But hero, there is no real grudge between us. I beg you, don't kill me. Even if you want me to be your servant, it's fine. Qin Feng's only thought now was to live. As long as he lived, there was hope, because he knew that his third uncle was leading a massacre in the Black Desert City. Once the matter there was settled, his third uncle could come and help. When the time came, he would definitely make Ling Xiao suffer a fate worse than death. How dare he humiliate him like this? He had to take revenge. At this moment, the guards who were secretly observing and preparing to take advantage of the situation were all dumbfounded. There was no suspense in this battle. It ended too quickly. In just 2 moves, Ling Xiao defeated Qin Feng. Moreover, Ling Xiao was actually using an Emperor-level martial skill. A martial artist at the 2nd level of the Divine Vein Realm was actually able to use 2 Emperor-class martial skills consecutively? What was going on? In their eyes, the incomparably fearful Qin Feng had become completely powerless in Ling Xiao's hands. Run! Run! Suddenly, someone warned and hurriedly fled into the distance. Why are you running away? There were still some people who were somewhat puzzled. Idiot! When we were on the road, we purposely distanced ourselves from Ling Xiao because of Qin Feng's words. And today, we saw something we shouldn't have seen. That Ling Xiao will definitely silence him. With this explanation, everyone understood. Like a madman, he fled into the distance. However, a huge domain of extreme cold instantly enveloped everyone. They couldn't escape even if they wanted to. Ling Xiao carried Qin Feng's severely injured body and walked to the front of the crowd. If you want to live, each of you come over and stab this guy, Ling Xiao said coldly. No, don't. Qin Feng was so frightened that he turned pale. You were very proud when you wanted to kill me back then, Ling Xiao mocked. Those surviving guards were also a little hesitant. If you don't kill him, all of you will have to die, Ling Xiao said indifferently. He didn't want to kill indiscriminately, but he couldn't allow these people to leak out that he killed Qin Feng. Therefore, The best way was to tie everyone to the same boat. It was much safer this way. Let me do it. Finally, someone took the lead. Me too. They knew that if they didn't follow Ling Xiao's instructions, they would definitely die. Anyway, only they would know that they killed Qin Feng here. As long as they didn't say anything, no outsiders would know. Qin Feng was hacked to death by those people in extreme fear. They probably never thought of it before. These trash that they looked down on became the executioners of their own lives in the end. All right, you can go now. Ling Xiao removed the extreme cold domain and burned Chen Feng's body with fire. Take a detour there. Although it's a little far, it's very safe. The reason why he gave these people directions was purely because he didn't want them to be caught. Once they were caught, there might be people who couldn't stand the torture and leak out that he killed Qin Feng. Thank you. They still believed Ling Xiao's words. Along the way, Ling Xiao was right. If it wasn't for Uncle Zhou, who didn't listen to Ling Xiao's advice, then they wouldn't have fallen to such a state. Everyone disappeared into the vast desert together. Seeing Ling Xiao's shadow gradually disappear, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. I really didn't expect that Ling Xiao to be so terrifying. Yeah, if I had known, I would have stood on his side. I reckon that Barbarian Bear would have fled long ago. Sai, let's not talk about that. He's already extremely benevolent by not killing us. Keep your mouths shut in the future. Don't cause trouble. He even dared to kill Qin Feng. We're nothing. That's right, let's go quickly. Everyone didn't dare to waste any more time and quickly took a detour. Ling Xiao didn't leave. Instead, he headed in the direction of Shangguan Mingyu. He was still a person with a conscience. Shangguan Mingyu treated him well along the way and even protected him in front of Qin Feng. No matter what the purpose was, she helped him. As a person with a conscience, helping this woman along the way was no problem. Moreover, that Shangguan Yu was quite cute. Along the way, he sparred with her several times. Even if they weren't friends, they could be considered acquaintances. He could not save her. Of course, the most important reason was that he wanted to get remuneration from the Shangguan Trading Company. High-grade spirit stones were good things. It would be a waste not to take them. Another reason was that the 10th Wolf King and the 9th Wolf King hadn't reached the point of despair yet. After the battle with Qin Feng, his cultivation C energy had increased by 20%. Now it had reached 50%. To break through, he had to reach at least 100%. The 10th Wolf King and the 9th Wolf King were considered good practice targets. It didn't take long for him to feel the battle on the wasteland. Although this battle wasn't as earth-shattering as the one in the western region. However, every time they collided, the ground would still shake. Sand and dust flew. The scene was extremely spectacular. He sped up and rushed over. In order to be able to enter the battle as soon as possible, he still maintained the unbounded heavenly rat beast soul transformation state. So his speed was extremely fast. Under the transformation state of the unbounded heavenly rat beast soul, his face could be covered by armor or exposed. The combat strength was not much different. At this moment, Ling Xiao's face was exposed. He wanted to tell the Shangguan sisters who saved them. Chapter 3578. A moment later, Ling Xiao had already arrived near the battlefield and entered the shadow dancer state. He observed the ongoing battle. At this moment, the 9th Wolf King was locked in battle with Shangguan Mingyu. The two of them were evenly matched. However, Shangguan Mingyu's actual combat experience was obviously inferior to the 9th Wolf King's. If this continued, the battle would probably end in less than half an hour. At that time, Shangguan Mingyu would definitely lose. As for the other side, Shangguan Yu's situation was even worse. She was suppressed by the 10th Wolf King to the point that she couldn't fight back at all. Although Shangguan Yu tried her best, the wounds on her body were still increasing. Shangguan Mingyu was worried about her brother's safety and was at a disadvantage. As for Uncle Zhou and Zhou Tong, the two arrogant idiots, the two of them were currently trapped and sitting on the ground, watching the battle in horror. They still hoped that the Shangguan sisters would win, because these two were young and easy to fool. They definitely wouldn't die. But if the two Wolf Kings won, it would be terrible. At that time, the two of them would definitely lose their value and be killed. Shangguan Mingyu was incomparably anxious. She wasn't even so anxious when she lost the purple sun pill. Although that thing was precious, as long as one was alive, there was hope. But at this moment, her brother was being suppressed by the 10th Wolf King and was covered in blood. He was about to die, but there was nothing she could do. The 9th Wolf King seemed to be deliberately watching her suffer, and his cold laughter became stronger and stronger. "Little girl, I advise you to hand over the purple sun pill. In that case, we can give you a quick death. Otherwise, we will definitely make you suffer a fate worse than death. You should still be a virgin, right? Hee hee. It wouldn't be good if you were defiled." The 9th Wolf King's mouth was full of obscenities, and he was very proud. "I've already said that the purple sun pill is no longer in our hands. It was snatched away." Shangguan Mingyu was very helpless. If she really had the purple sun pill, she would definitely hand it over, even if it was just to protect her brother's safety. But the problem now was that she didn't have the purple sun pill at all. This was really depressing. "Sister, don't worry about me. If you can escape, then escape. Let father take revenge for me." Although Shangguan Yu was covered in blood, she became braver and braver as she fought. This made the 10th Wolf King a little surprised. In fact, Shangguan Yu was also very surprised. Along the way, after sparring with Ling Xiao dozens of times, he found that his fighting skills had improved a lot. If it was in the past, he would probably be dead by now. But now, not only was he still alive, he wasn't even fatally injured. It even left a few shallow wounds on the 10th Wolf King's body. He didn't know who Ling Xiao was, but he knew that Ling Xiao's combat skills were probably unmatched. Even his father might not be able to do it. He was simply a natural-born warrior. "No, I won't leave. I won't leave you behind." Shangguan Mingyu vaguely remembered that when she was young, she was not as strong as she was now. On the other hand, his younger brother, Shangguan Yu, was very sturdy. When she was bullied, it was her younger brother who ran out to protect her. Although it was beaten until it was covered in wounds, the little fellow never retreated. Now, in the face of these ferocious enemies, how could she abandon her younger brother? "Xiao Yu, big sister is coming to save you. Run." Shangguan Mingyu decided that even if she died, she would let Shangguan Yu escape. She suddenly pounced on the 10th Wolf King. She completely ignored the 9th Wolf King's attack. "You're courting death." The 9th Wolf King snorted coldly. How could he not see through this woman's purpose? Since she wanted to die, he would give her a quick death. He was a savage beast, and he had no intention of showing mercy to the fairer sex. In his rage, his speed increased sharply. A terrifying attack blasted towards Shangguan Mingyu's back. That huge wolf claw flickered with an icy cold light under the sun. "Sister, don't." Shangguan Yu was scared out of his wits. Of course, he knew what his sister was going to do, but he definitely didn't want that to happen. As for the 10th Wolf King, when he saw Shangguan Mingyu pouncing towards him without caring about her life, he didn't dare to hesitate. He did not dare to be negligent. He gave up on Shangguan Yu and attacked Shangguan Mingyu, the 10th Wolf King and the 9th Wolf King. One from the front and one from the back, they attacked Shangguan Mingyu from both sides. Even if Shangguan Mingyu wasn't weak, she was still in a situation where she would die. "Xiao Yu, run." This was the effect that Shangguan Mingyu wanted. She alone entangled the 10th Wolf King and the 9th Wolf King. Then, she would let Shangguan Yu escape. Unfortunately, Shangguan Yu had no intention of escaping at all, because he was calmer than Shangguan Mingyu. If he escaped, Shangguan Mingyu would definitely die. He wouldn't be able to escape from the palms of these two people. So what he had to do now was to attack. He suddenly condensed his most powerful move, Emperor-level martial technique, sky-shattering clouds. With a roar, he used the Emperor-level martial technique with his cultivation at the 4th level of the True Element realm and charged towards the 10th Wolf King. The 10th Wolf King was shocked, because Emperor-level martial techniques were very precious. Ordinary martial artists definitely didn't have them. But thinking about it carefully, the Shangguan Trading Company was one of the more famous trading companies in the Purple Spirit Capital City. It was normal for the young masters and young ladies here to have Emperor-level martial techniques. Damn it! Although the 10th Wolf King also knew Emperor-level martial techniques, the troublesome thing was that he was being attacked by Shangguan Mingyu and Shangguan Yu. Helpless, he could only choose to dodge. Ninth brother, I'll leave it to you. He retreated rapidly and avoided Shangguan Yu's terrifying attack. At this moment, Shangguan Mingyu was still in danger and couldn't escape, although there was no danger of being attacked from the front and back. But at this moment, her back was facing the 9th Wolf King. How could she fight back? Her combat ability was not as good as the 9th Wolf King's. Now that she had her back to others, she was still in a dead end. It's a pity that I couldn't see little you safely return to the Purple Spirit Capital City. Shangguan Mingyu knew that she was dead meat. She was prepared to die together with the 9th Wolf King. She had to create some conditions for her brother to escape. Unfortunately, she probably wouldn't be able to see if she could succeed. Sister, don't! Shangguan Yu roared as she crazily attacked the 10th Wolf King. At this moment, the 9th Wolf King, who was attacking Shangguan Mingyu, suddenly went crazy. He actually attacked in a direction in the void with the wolf claws in his hand. Of course, this was only what Uncle Zhou and Zhou Tong thought. Shangguan Mingyu had already felt it. On the battlefield between her and the 9th Wolf King, the aura of a third person appeared. Boom! A terrifying collision exploded in the void. The 9th Wolf King was actually sent flying more than 10 meters away. However, the invisible martial artist was also exposed. He retreated more than 50 meters away. There was still blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. Ling Xiao, who was in the state of shadow dancer, couldn't use martial techniques. This was troublesome. Therefore, he was at a disadvantage in this collision. Chapter 3579. It's you, brother. Shangguan Mingyu and Shangguan Yu were both shocked. Didn't they say that Ling Xiao had already escaped when they were in the Black Desert City? Why would he suddenly appear here? He even saved Shangguan Mingyu's life. Surprised my ass. If it wasn't for your *T Uncle Zhou, who didn't listen to my advice and rashly entered the Black Desert City, the current situation wouldn't have happened. Shangguan Mingyu, I'll leave the 9th Wolf King to you. I'll deal with the 10th Wolf King. Shangguan Yu, move aside. Ling Xiao directly rushed over, picked up Shangguan Yu, and threw him aside. Then he fought with the 10th Wolf King. You actually dare to meddle in other people's business. The 10th Wolf King and the 9th Wolf King were a little stunned. They didn't expect such a person to appear out of nowhere, especially this person's demonic beast aura, which was more like their beast race. This made them a little confused. Meddle in other people's business? You don't understand, right? I'm a guard hired by the Shangguan Trading Company. Ling Xiao looked at the 10th Wolf King and smiled faintly. Now that he had obtained the Purple Sun Pill, the next step was to do his best to help Shangguan Mingyu and Shangguan Yu escape. As for the two idiots who were tied up over there, he wasn't interested in saving them. So it's another reckless thing. 10th brother, no need to talk nonsense with him. Kill him, the 9th Wolf King said coldly. Got it, 9th brother. The 10th Wolf King looked at Ling Xiao. No matter what you are, you won't be able to escape death today. Ling Xiao glanced at the 10th Wolf King and couldn't help but smile. He then said to Shangguan Mingyu, Can you still hold on? No problem. Shangguan Mingyu finally came back to her senses. It was as if she had crawled out from the abyss and was extremely glad. All right, then you stall the 9th Wolf King. I'll kill the 10th Wolf King first. Ling Xiao said, I'm afraid you can't do it. After the 10th Wolf King transformed into a wolf. His strength has reached the 5th level of the divine vein realm. Shangguan Mingyu said, "Take Xiaoyu away. I'll stop them." "Shut up and listen to me. Otherwise, I'll leave right now." Ling Zhao's attitude was very overbearing, because there was no time to talk nonsense. The puppet eagle told him the truth. That meant that the battle in Black Desert City was about to end. General Qin was fighting with the 8th Wolf King. However, it seemed that the 8th Wolf King's strength was inferior to General Chen's. At this rate, the battle would stop in at most 20 minutes. They also had to end the battle and escape. Otherwise, even if they managed to kill 2 Wolf Kings, they would still be killed by General Chen's group. Shangguan Mingyu was stunned. Just as he was about to get angry, he saw Ling Xiao suddenly pull out a sword. The body of the sword was sparkling and translucent, releasing a bone-piercing cold. "That guy is serious." Shangguan Mingyu swallowed the words on the tip of his tongue. "Xiaoyu, let's go." "No, I have to treat my injuries first and help little brother later. Otherwise, he won't be a match for the 10th Wolf King." Although Shangguanyu was young and innocent, she was quite loyal. "Don't worry, the ones who will die today will be them." Ling Xiao sneered. The 10th Wolf King and the 9th Wolf King were both at the 4th level of the divine vein realm. Only after transforming could they reach the 5th level of the divine vein realm. No matter which one it was, they weren't too strong. Divine Demon Sword Soul Unleash. While speaking, Ling Xiao unleashed the Divine Demon Sword Soul. The Ice Age in his hand turned into a black and white sword. This guy actually has a divine Great Empyrean weapon on him. The 10th Wolf King's eyes widened. The 9th Wolf King was drooling as well. A divine Great Emperor weapon. Even in the Purple Spirit capital, it was an extremely precious and top-tier weapon. No, it was definitely the strongest weapon for anyone below the divine core realm. 10th brother, you have to get that thing. This guy doesn't look like an ordinary guy. The 9th Wolf King shouted. 9th brother, don't worry. There are only 3 divine Great Emperor weapons in our Black Desert Army. They are all in the possession of 3 brothers. If we can get that one, we can exchange it. What do you think? The 10th Wolf King said. We'll do as you say, the 9th Wolf King said. Both of them didn't take Ling Xiao seriously at all. It was as if as long as they attacked, Ling Xiao wouldn't be able to withstand their attacks. You guys are really careless. A divine Great Emperor weapon is great, but too bad. I'm afraid both of you won't have the fortune to use it. Ling Xiao smiled. A terrifying sword intent was unleashed from his innate sword soul. The entire battlefield suddenly became piercingly cold, as if a terrifying whirlwind of blades had blown past. The battle was about to start. Ling Xiao and the 10th Wolf King stood together. In order to end the battle quickly, he used the 9 transformation divine demon art right from the start. A terrifying energy was unleashed from both swords. The 10th Wolf King was sent flying dozens of meters away. He even suffered some serious injuries. It's an Emperor-grade martial skill. But do you think you're the only one with an Emperor-grade martial skill? The 10th Wolf King stood up from the ground. He circulated his true yuan. The 2 claws suddenly became longer and sharper. Emperor-grade martial skill. Phantom Wolves cross-kill. Die, human. Ha! Ling Xiao was a little surprised to see the other party use an Emperor-grade martial skill. He finally saw an opponent with an Emperor-grade martial skill. He felt that the power of this move was stronger than his descent of the divine demon because of the other party's cultivation. Its power was almost the same as the 7 swords in one. However, it was obviously weaker than the second move of the 9 transformation divine demon art. This move was displayed. The 10th Wolf King suddenly turned into an afterimage. His speed was extremely fast. His crazy claws pierced directly toward Ling Xiao's chest. That terrifying power was enough to make one tremble in fear. Ling Xiao did not put away Ice Age. At this time, the 7 swords flew directly out of the storage ring. They floated around his body. A terrifying power began to condense. The 7 sword lights merged into one. 7 venerables attack. 7 swords roar. Kill. The 7-colored sword light frantically swallowed and spat out. It headed toward the 10th Wolf King. At that moment, Ling Xiao seemed to have turned into a venerable respected by all, incomparably majestic and solemn. The power of the 7 swords as one was stronger than the 10th Wolf King's attack. But the problem was that Ling Xiao's cultivation was not enough. So the attack power of these 2 moves should be basically the same. Boom! A terrifying roar sounded, and the 2 actually retreated dozens of meters away. The 10th Wolf King looked at the martial artist in front of him in horror. He simply could not understand. How could a martial artist with a cultivation of the 2nd level of the true Yuan realm be able to tie with him? Ling Xiao, on the other hand, was overjoyed, because he could feel that after using 2 Emperor-grade martial skills in a row, the energy in his cultivation C had increased by 20%. At this stage, perhaps it was because the Emperor-grade martial skills consumed a lot of his true Yuan and occupied a lot of his potential. So the speed of improvement was extremely fast. It was estimated that the speed might slow down in the future. Chapter 3580. The battle was still going on. The excited Ling Xiao used advent of gods and demons and 7 swords in one to attack his opponent. The 10th Wolf King finally couldn't hold on any longer. Even if he was a martial artist at the 4th level of the true element realm, he could only use his emperor-level martial technique 5 times at most. At this time, his true essence had been completely exhausted. This is the last blow. I'll send you to see the god of death. Ling Xiao sneered. This time he didn't use the emperor-level martial technique because he didn't need it. It wouldn't increase the energy in his cultivation C. This time he used the Peak King level martial technique, freezing instant. The 10th Wolf King didn't react at all when Ice Age blasted over. His true essence had been exhausted. Even if his cultivation was higher than Ling Xiao's, it was meaningless. A martial artist's defense and attack mostly relied on true essence to maintain. Although the physical strength of the savage beasts was stronger than that of ordinary human martial artists, it wasn't enough for the 10th Wolf King to block that terrifying attack. The 10th Wolf King watched as his entire body froze. Then he stopped struggling. His entire body was completely stiff. Then the sword light exploded from his body. It completely shattered the ice. The 10th Wolf King's body also dissipated. Only ice and debris were left on the ground. Even a complete corpse couldn't be pieced together. This scene made the 9th Wolf King furious. His 10th brother was actually blasted to pieces just like that. He frantically repelled Shangguan Mingyu and then pounced on the 10th Wolf King. Looking at the corpses all over the ground, he angrily waited for Ling Xiao. "Bastard, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you." The 9th Wolf King's strength was stronger than the 10th Wolf King, but not by much. Therefore, he didn't have any confidence at all. Ling Xiao scornfully hooked his hand and said, "Come on, I'm waiting." The battle with the 10th Wolf King had finally increased his cultivation C energy to 90%. With only 10% left, he might break through again. Reaching the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm was just the beginning. After all, the weakest martial artist in the Purple Mansion Army was at the 3rd level of the Divine Vein Realm. However, what he didn't expect was that the 9th Wolf King seemed to have deep affection for his brother. It seemed that he hated Ling Xiao to the core. He gathered all the true essence in his body. He actually chose run. He really had to run. He disappeared into the desert at an extremely fast speed. By the time Ling Xiao wanted to chase after him, it was already too late. Forget it. He doesn't know who I am anyway. This grudge will be held against the Shangguan Trading Company. It has nothing to do with a nobody like me. Ling Xiao thought about it and decided not to chase after him. This was not a place to stay for long. He had to get ready to slip away. He glanced at Zhou Tong and Uncle Zhou. Ling Xiao walked over. You guys have been very arrogant along the way. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have to work so hard. Shangguan Mingyu, what should we do with them? Kill. Shangguan Mingyu coldly glanced at Uncle Zhou and Zhou Tong and said. This made Ling Xiao a little surprised. This Miss Shangguan was more decisive than he imagined. But it was also true. Zhou Tong and Uncle Zhou actually lured the two wolf kings over and almost killed the siblings. It wouldn't make sense to not kill them. Miss, please spare my life. This old servant has worked for the Shangguan Trading Company for so long. You can't just kill me like that. Uncle Zhou said loudly. Sister, let them go. We're fine anyway. Shangguan Yu was still soft-hearted. She couldn't bear to see the old man crying like that. Shangguan Mingyu frowned and seemed to have the idea of letting this person go. You guys have to think carefully. Let's not talk about that, Zhou Tong. As for this, Uncle Zhou, don't you think everything is strange? There shouldn't be many people who know about the purple sun pill, right? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. That's right. Only Xiao Yu, Uncle Zhou, and I know about the purple sun pill. Could it be? Uncle Zhou, you betrayed us? Shangguan Mingyu finally came back to her senses. You're not stupid. I was wondering. I clearly told this Uncle Zhou that there was danger in the Black Desert City. He didn't listen at all. Even if the two of you were sleeping. You shouldn't be sleeping so soundly. I shouted for a long time, but you didn't respond. Ling Xiao said again. Uncle Zhou used a silent gauze curtain. Shangguan Mingyu was getting clearer and clearer. Miss, don't listen to this person. He's the spy. Otherwise, how could he know about the danger in the Black Desert City in advance? Otherwise, why would he and that barbarian bear hide first? Uncle Zhou was still biting there. At this point, you still refuse to admit it? Do you really think I'm stupid? I've actually suspected it before. After Chen Fengfeng revealed his true purpose, I understood that you've been selling our information to the 10,000 Flames capital city. Shangguan Mingyu walked towards Uncle Zhou. Although the things Ling Xiao did were strange, she didn't suspect it, because the reason was very simple. Ling Xiao saved the siblings and killed the 10th Wolf King. She didn't want to suspect her savior. If Ling Xiao really wanted to harm them, he didn't need to do so at all. For the sake of your years of service, I'll leave you with an intact corpse. Shangguan Mingyu sighed and finally made a move, killing Uncle Zhou with a slap. Then, she glanced at Zhou Tong and said, Get lost. If you don't remove the roots, be careful of endless troubles. Ling Xiao reminded. Although he's Uncle Zhou's son, he didn't collude with Uncle Zhou. Shangguan Mingyu shook her head, untied the rope on Zhou Tong's body and said, You can go. Thank you, miss. Zhou Tong lay on the ground. Shangguan Mingyu leaned over to help him. However, at this moment, Zhou Tong suddenly raised his head and a sharp arrow shot out from his mouth. It directly shot towards Shangguan Mingyu. What a pity. Shangguan Mingyu sighed at this moment. Her figure flashed slightly, and with a finger, it directly pierced through Zhou Tong's throat. She actually agreed with Ling Xiao's words just now, but she really couldn't do it to Zhou Tong, so she needed a reason, and Zhou Tong just gave it to her. See, little you, in the future, you must remember that kindness will make you lose your life. This time, fortunately, Sister had predicted it. Otherwise, even with Sister's strength, it would be impossible to avoid it. Shangguan Mingyu said. Shangguan Yu was really shocked. This time he had experienced too much. Chen Feng's betrayal, Uncle Zhou's betrayal, Zhou Tong's repaying kindness with ingratitude. These would allow him to grow quickly. Let's go, or it will be too late. Ling Xiao felt that there was a team rushing over from the Black Desert City. Let's go. Anyway, they were about to reach the Purple Spirit Capital. The three jumped on a blazing fire puppet beast at the same time and headed towards the road beside the Black Desert City. Although it would take more detours, it was safer. Miss Shangguan, don't forget the promised reward. Those guys' rewards should all belong to me, right? On the way, Ling Xiao said with a smile. Of course. Chapter 3581. Shangguan Mingyu did not object to giving all the rewards to Ling Xiao. It was just that Shangguan Mingyu had been confused. Who took the purple sun pill? Was it someone from the 10,000 Flames capital city? Or was it someone else? It was a pity that she would never be able to figure it out, unless one day Ling Xiao could not hold it in and said it himself. Then she might still know. Thank you very much. Ling Xiao liked high-grade spirit stones because everything he did now required high-grade spirit stones. Buying medicinal herbs, activating puppets, cultivating, setting up formations, and so on. Without high-grade spirit stones in life, there is nothing to do. By the way, where's that barbarian bear? Didn't he escape with you? Shangguan Mingyu asked curiously. Shangguan Yu had already fallen asleep. This child had suffered too much shock and probably needed to digest it properly. I told him to go to the Imperial Mausoleum first. I alone am enough to save people. Ling Xiao said indifferently. I really don't understand. You're so powerful. Why didn't you tell us earlier so that we could be mentally prepared? Shangguan Mingyu complained. Tell you earlier? If I told you earlier, I would have been destroyed first. Ling Xiao always believed that hiding a part of his strength was the key to survival. You must make others unable to see through you. You are the most powerful. Shangguan Mingyu wanted to say something more, but she was interrupted by Ling Xiao. You should rest too. When we reach the Purple Spirit capital city, I will wake you up. All right. Shangguan Mingyu was actually very tired, but for some reason, she always felt very safe by Ling Xiao's side. He actually fell into a deep sleep. After some time, she was woken up by Ling Xiao. The Purple Spirit capital city was already in front of them. This is the reward. Let's part ways here. To be honest, you might not have a good thing if you go to the Shangguan Trading Company, so don't make it public. Shangguan Mingyu took out a total of 50,000 high-grade spirit stones from her storage ring and gave them to Ling Xiao. Then, she left with Shangguan Yu. Ling Xiao understood what she meant. The Shangguan Trading Company was too complicated. It was hard to guarantee that no one would think that he had ulterior motives. Therefore, it was better not to go. Actually, that was what he meant as well. He found it troublesome. He might as well take the money and enjoy himself. He watched Shangguan Mingyu and Shangguan Yu leave. Ling Xiao found a secluded place and sat down. Then he called out Yuan Venerate. Master, does the Xiang pill really have the effect that they say it does? Ling Xiao asked. The effect of the purple sun pill isn't as miraculous as they said, but it can indeed increase a warrior's chances of breaking through to the divine core realm. How about this? I'll teach you a method to refine the violet sun nature pill. This purple sun fortune pill could double the effects of the purple sun pill. However, it would require a lot of precious materials. In the days to come, try your best to slowly gather the money. No matter what, you're only at the second level of the divine vein realm. There's still a long way to go before you reach the divine core realm. Yuan Venerate thought for a moment, then passed the pill formula to Ling Xiao. Thank you, Master. I'm now a rich man. If I have any treasures that can strengthen my soul, I'll definitely buy them for you. Just try your best. There's no need to force yourself. Anyway, I'm fine as I am now. If I obtain a physical body too early, it might cause trouble instead. After Yuan Venerate said that, he returned to the mountain river realm. Ling Xiao stood up and stretched his body. Only now did he notice that the Violet Spirit capital was much bigger than the Myriad Flames capital. The Myriad Flames capital had already surprised him, but the Violet Spirit capital was even more majestic. There were only about 10,000 Purple Mansion army soldiers stationed in the Myriad Flames capital. However, the Violet Spirit capital had over 1 million Purple Mansion army soldiers stationed there. Although this place couldn't be compared to the Violet Mansion capital, it was still very powerful. There were over 1 million Purple Mansion army soldiers, and about 3 million local soldiers. The population of the Violet Spirit Kingdom exceeded 1 billion. Just the Violet Spirit capital alone had a population of about 100 million. Although it was a lot, it didn't look crowded. The main reason was that the city was too big. If it weren't for the fact that there were many martialists in the mystic world, it would have been impossible for ordinary people to build such a huge city. Just like the Myriad Flames capital, the Violet Spirit capital didn't have city walls. The security in the city was basically maintained by the local army. The army was stationed at a place further away from the city. However, the puppet technology of the 4 major regions was more developed. Once something happened, the garrison could quickly arrive. Furthermore, under normal circumstances, the city defense army in the city was enough. The strength of these city defense army soldiers wasn't lower than the first level of the Divine Vein Realm. Although they couldn't be compared to the Purple Mansion army, they were still very powerful. Furthermore, there were also some experts in the city defense army. There are people at the 3rd, 4th, and 5th level of the Divine Vein Realm. As for the Purple Mansion army, they were stationed even further away. They had their own city walls and residences. Their purpose was to quell rebellions and deal with some troublesome matters. In addition, they were in charge of recruiting and training new soldiers. As the saying went, soldiers were trained for 1,000 days to be used for a single moment. They didn't fight. However, if a war broke out in the Violet Kingdom, they would definitely be of great use. Following the crowd, Ling Xiao headed toward the Violet Spirit capital. Along the way, there were all kinds of strange puppet carriages and puppet beasts. It was a dazzling sight. The spacious and clean streets were pleasing to the eye. A martial artist at the 2nd level of the Divine Vein Realm was simply insignificant in the midst of hundreds of millions of people. There were hundreds of millions of people entering and exiting the city every day. No one would pay attention to a mere Ling Xiao. It seems like this will be my main training ground for the next stage. Here, I have to raise my cultivation to the 9th level of the Divine Vein Realm. I have to reach the level of a captain. Only then will I be able to do better in the Violet Kingdom capital. Otherwise, even if I go there, I will still be a nobody. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao took a deep breath. He discovered that there were many puppet beasts flying in the sky above the Violet Spirit capital. There were also many fixed puppet beasts that stayed in one place. They seemed to be monitoring everyone. Ling Xiao finally understood why there was no need to build a city wall here. Those puppets, big and small, have recorded everything you've done. If you weren't strong enough, who would dare to cause trouble here? Even if someone barged in, they would probably be killed by the martial artists here in less than 10 minutes. The City Defense Army, the Violet Kingdom Army, and the garrison weren't to be trifled with. The Violet Kingdom had its own laws, and the Violet Spirit Kingdom had its own laws. Other than copying the Violet Kingdom's laws, they also had their own laws. The Violet Spirit Kingdom's king was the pinnacle existence in the Violet Spirit Kingdom. Generally speaking, the king, emperor, and so on in the mystic world were also the strongest in that kingdom. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to convince the masses. There was no need to even think about surviving. It was because of the strict laws that dictated what should be done and what shouldn't be done that this city appeared to be prosperous and prosperous. Chapter 3582. I wonder where the Purple Mansion Army is stationed. How can I go there to report? Ling Xiao felt that his top priority was to join the Purple Mansion Army. Only by joining the Purple Mansion Army would he be able to go to the bloody battlefield. Only by entering the bloody battlefield would his cultivation be able to break through faster. Big brother, this way. While thinking about the Purple Mansion Army, Ling Xiao suddenly heard Barbarian Xiong's voice. He couldn't help but feel happy. Walking over, Barbarian Xiong dragged him to the restaurant. Big brother, you must be looking for information about the Purple Mansion Army. There's a restaurant over there. I've asked around. They have been hosting the Purple Mansion Army for a long time. And every time someone comes to look for the Purple Mansion Army, they will go there to eat. Hearing Barbarian Xiong's words, Ling Xiao didn't resist. But speaking of food, he suddenly thought of the spirit chef that was still trapped in the beast ring. It wasn't a good idea to keep him around. After all, this kid was very crafty and didn't want to be disciplined. Let's kill him. This guy didn't do anything that offended the heavens and reason. He decided to just let him go and invest some money to let him open a restaurant in the purple spirit capital city and gather information for him. With the soul-absorbing pill and the four-leaf demonic eyes, he wasn't afraid that this kid wouldn't listen to him. Thinking of this, he was already pulled into the restaurant by Barbarian Xiong. He found a corner on the first floor and sat down. From here, he could see the entrance and the street, as well as all kinds of people in the restaurant and what was happening. Ling Xiao noticed that all the martial artists who entered the restaurant were all at least at the first level of the divine vein realm. Those with lower cultivation were the old, the weak, the women, and the children. These four regions were really terrifyingly powerful. A mere purple spirit capital city was already like this. He wondered what the Purple Mansion Army would be like. "Waiter, how's the thing I asked you to gather information about?" Barbarian Xiong asked with a smile when he saw the waiter bringing the dishes over. "How can I not do what you asked me to do? Take a look at this booklet. It's the recruitment booklet for the Purple Mansion Army. The details are all there. You can know anything you want." The waiter said with a smile. Ling Xiao noticed that the waiter's cultivation was at the second level of the divine vein realm, the same as him. "I didn't expect you to print such an exquisite booklet." Barbarian Bear took the booklet and smiled as he read it. "We didn't do it. It was the Z Mansion Army that gave it to us. The Zifu Army also wanted more people to join them. It just so happens that our restaurant's business is booming, and there are many warriors coming in and out. Many of them are here for the Purple Mansion Army. That's why we usually have the most recruitment brochures." The waiter said proudly. "I see. Thank you very much." Ling Xiao thought about it and agreed. The Purple Mansion Army had entered the bloody battlefield, and many of them had died. To be able to maintain the number of 50 million, there would probably be a large number of martial artists joining every year. The mountain river martial spirit had been around for many years. This naturally had a huge impact on the profound world. Now that there were more and more strong warriors, he didn't know if the Z Mansion Army's recruitment method had changed. To be honest, Ling Xiao was a little worried. What the hell? Why is he only at the 5th level of the divine vein realm? Didn't they say that anyone at the 3rd level of the divine vein realm could join? Barbarian Bear suddenly cried out in alarm. If it was only at the 5th level of the divine vein realm, it meant that he had no chance. His combat strength was only at the 4th level of the divine vein realm, which wasn't enough to deal with someone at the 5th level of the divine vein realm. "Your information is too outdated. The Purple Mansion Army has always maintained the number of 50 million, but now there are more and more strong warriors. Therefore, they raised the level of entry. You said that those at the 3rd level of the divine vein realm joined before. If they are still at that cultivation level after 3 years, they will be eliminated." The waiter said excitedly, "Looking at your cultivation level, it doesn't seem to be strong. Why don't you just stay in our restaurant? After cultivating for a few more years, it won't be too late to take the exam. I'm not trying to discourage you. I saw a martial artist at the 5th level of the divine vein realm getting eliminated a few days ago. He had been hiding in his room and drinking wine." "Why was he eliminated?" Ling Xiao asked. "They said that his talent wasn't good because there were too many people signing up. Therefore, the 5th level of the divine vein realm is just a reference. It is the minimum. It doesn't mean that you are qualified to enter just because you have reached that cultivation level." The waiter explained. "I see." Ling Xiao nodded and didn't say anything. The waiter thought that the two were discouraged and hurriedly said, "You don't have to be discouraged. The Purple Spirit Capital City is a good place. Cultivating here is better than any other main city. The two of you should be able to give it a try after working hard for more than 10 years. More than 10 years. You might as well kill me," Barbarian Xiong said helplessly. There are really people who commit suicide. Sigh, in my opinion, there is no need. Our shopkeeper also came to the Purple Mansion Army to take the exam. In the end, he didn't get in. So he started a business here. Now he has made a lot of money and improved his cultivation level. The waiter smiled. Go do your work. Ling Xiao looked at the waiter and said, Okay, but don't take it too hard. Besides the Purple Mansion Army, there are still many ways out. Before the waiter left, he kindly reminded them. Ling Xiao smiled and patted Barbarian Xiong. Don't be so discouraged. With your talent, you should only need 1 year. Next, I plan to invest in opening a restaurant here. I will let the spiritual chef be the head chef and you will be the boss. Every day, besides cultivating, you will be enjoying good food. Wouldn't that be great? Next year, I will be a veteran of the Purple Mansion Army. If you enter, I will be able to take care of you. Wouldn't that be better than this year? Big brother, you really know how to comfort people. Okay, I will listen to you and stay for a year. Anyway, the Purple Spirit Capital City is very big and much more fun than the 10,000 Flames main city. Moreover, I can make money and don't have to worry about my parents. Barbarian Xiong thought for a while and drank the wine. Ling Xiao took the booklet and read it. The booklet explained the recruitment of soldiers in detail. First, the minimum cultivation level is the 5th level of the Divine Vein Realm. If you don't have the cultivation level, you can reach it. Second, the Purple Mansion Army is stationed in the Rising Sun City, which is 10 miles away from the Purple Spirit Capital City. The Rising Sun City is different from other cities. It is the place where the Purple Mansion Army lives. It is strictly governed by the military. There is also a large area of forest and wasteland nearby that can be used for military training. On normal days, it is very strict and no unrelated people are allowed to enter. Third, the recruitment period is in the middle of every month. The recruitment will continue for 10 days. During these 10 days, you can sign up and participate in the assessment as you wish. Under normal circumstances, the acceptance rate is 1 in 10,000. Fourth, the assessment method is very simple. You just have to defeat the puppet martial artists. These puppet martial artists are like the puppet beasts. They have strong combat power and don't know fatigue. Their defense is very terrifying. Of course, according to the rules, the shortest time you take to defeat the puppet martial artist, the more damage you cause to the puppet martial artist. The lighter the injuries, etc., are all factors for the assessment. If you defeat more opponents, you will be graded according to these factors.